To know everything that goes inside the building of a sports team, right? Should we? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
That's the first time the Phillies have lost 4 straight at Citizens Bank Park since 2022. You mentioned the stat just last week.
70 and 30.
70-30 in 100 games at home at Citizens Bank Park. And then right after you give that stat, they follow up with 4 straight losses at home for the first time since 2022. That's why baseball is a beautiful sport. That's why
beautiful?
sports are. Oh, yeah, man, it is.
That's beautiful?
Yeah, exactly.
You and I have different opinions on beautiful.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Thursday morning, Philadelphia man, Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
And a good morning to you.
Beautiful day today.
Oh, my gosh. Getting out of the car this morning at 4:40 or whatever it was.
I like when it's
beautiful.
warm. I like when it's warm when we get out of the car at 4:40.
Beautiful.
It's not so much fun in like February at 4:40 in the morning when it's freezing and windy.
No, it's nice. I mean, you can tell it's going to be a nice day today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Not a nice game for the Phillies yesterday.
No.
They lose 2-1 in game-winning fashion for the Blue Jays, bottom of the 9th inning. We'll talk about the game later on in the show. But I want to start off. This is going to be one of those topics where it's not necessarily about a specific thing, but we have something to react to, which then opens up the door to many possibilities, John.
This sounds like an argument with my wife.
Oh, well, I don't think we're going to be arguing.
Where one thing can lead to,
and another thing.
And remember, when the other day you left the remote out.
Oh, those are always fun.
They're always good.
All right, so earlier this week, Vic Fangio spoke to the media for the first time in the 2025 OTA campaign.
Okay.
Right? And it was great. We love Vic Fangio. He's straight to the point. There was really only one long answer in his entire press conference. We get this thing called the cut sheet, which is all the cuts from press conferences or interviews done by our station, or if somebody sees something nationally and they pull it and they label it, and it's sent out at the end of every single day. Usually a Sirianni cut sheet's like 7 clips because he talks so long, whereas a Vic Fangio cut sheet is like 20-plus clips because he talks so quickly.
Correct.
And there's no it's time constraints for the press conferences, not question constraints. It's not, hey, we can only ask 10 questions. It's, hey, you guys have X amount of minutes, right?
Yeah, Vic's not going to answer 25 questions.
So there was one question where Vic Fangio gave a very quick answer to. He was asked about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and obviously not having him this season. And he sort of gave a very quick answer as to why he's not here anymore.
What were your thoughts on trading CJ?
That was a salary cap type thing, and how he made that decision, I was fine with it.
So he says that quickly.
Which I said to you when we played it the other day. I didn't like the answer.
Yeah, you wish you had more?
Yeah, I didn't like the answer. I thought it was dismissive to CJ Gardner-Johnson.
And when he said I was fine with it, that was my immediate...
That was dismissive.
Okay, what every Eagles fan said when they traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, because let's face it, I'm trying to not be mean, there are sheep that whatever the Eagles do, it was the right move.
Right.
And look, coming off of a Super Bowl win, hey, be a sheep. Go for it. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. You want to trust everything that how he's doing? Okay, exactly. I understand. Even though I didn't like the trade. So when he just says that, I was fine with it. That tells me it wasn't just cap related.
I didn't like I thought CJ Gardner-Johnson twice helped to get this team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And twice was a big part of getting this team to a Super Bowl. And I thought that his answer was very sort of, it wasn't that big a deal.
And
he
Vic
didn't
Fangio
do that much to help us get there, and I think that is complete falsehood.
Yeah, and Vic Fangio, by the way, was here in 2022. He was a senior
assistant.
So he was here when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was here the first time. And then obviously we know what happened in the year in between,
right?
When the 49ers walk through your warm-ups and there's no fight from your team. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would not have allowed that.
It wouldn't have happened.
He would have stood on business, and of course he wasn't here. He comes back. Is he the reason why they win the Super Bowl last year? No. Is he a part of the culture and the impact that defense had? The number 1 ranked defense? Yeah.
He was part
absolutely.
of why they were so dogged in December, January.
Yeah, some of
then the
some
Super
of the
Bowl.
big hits. Remember,
It was fantastic.
Leggett, the very first play against the Panthers, like he set a
Right.
tone in that game, even though the offense didn't really follow with
cooperate.
it. But whatever. So after that clip made its rounds, CJ Gardner-Johnson, who lives online sometimes to his own detriment.
He never takes his head out of his phone.
Yeah, and look, these are things that we know, right? We realize. He put out a post on Instagram yesterday saying this: I was a test dummy for them. So now they can be like, my scheme work, or did my skill set make it work? I had zero issues. People had issues with me. So yeah, let the salary cap be the, quote, excuse.
Okay, we know a few things, and I've shared them on the air.
Yes, you have.
I know for a fact, a absolute capital F fact, that there were problems with him in the building with what went down with his social media activity regarding Travis Kelce and the woman, his degrading comments towards women, things like that. That was not well received. I don't believe that's why he's gone. I believe that might have been the cherry on the sundae.
Could have been.
It could have been, but I think it was a football decision that he's gone. But to me, I think that he's saying he was a test dummy or whatever. Yeah, he gave his body, heart, and soul for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll always respect the hell out of him for that. But I think he was also, from what appears to be, a flaming pain in the backside. As far as there's nothing, Vic Fangio doesn't want freelancing. Vic Fangio doesn't want to deal with personalities. Vic Fangio doesn't want. He wants guys who are loyal soldiers that go about their business, and he's very stodgy. And
Yeah.
And by the way, he got mocked about it at the parade by Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and all them. They were having fun with him about it.
He's mocked at it at the parade, hated for it in Miami.
Right.
Because
He's
there
fun.
were some players that they don't want structure.
And they're fun with it.
Yes.
They're mocking him, and I guarantee you he was okay with it.
Yeah, well, and those are the Georgia Bulldogs.
They
who
were
are
okay with
coming
it
from a
because
program.
They're
yeah.
used to being coached hard. I don't
Right.
think CJ Gardner-Johnson is used to being coached hard.
So I have this question for the audience. Again, this is one of these topics where we're going to open up a bunch of different doors here, kind of like the fandom conversation we had the other day. Do we think enough about other attributes, I'll say, with players other than talent? And that could be scheme fit, right? We found that out where, oh my God, Nnamdi Asomugha. We were so excited when the Eagles acquired him, but he did not fit the scheme that they were running. Now, is that something we're supposed to know? Do we know enough about football to realize whether or not a guy is going to fit in a scheme? Byron Maxwell, another player.
Right.
Walter Thurman III, who was the
God,
guest
you're
the
bringing
Eagle
up
the other
bad
day.
memories this morning. It's only 6:08.
But these were players that were good in their respective system beforehand. They come
Sure.
here, they're not that good. Like
Sure.
DeMarco Murray, great running back with the Cowboys, did not fit in the Chip Kelly offensive scheme. Like, do we think about that stuff enough? And it's not just scheme fit, it's also culture. And that is something that Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles really value.
And he's not, CJ Gardner-Johnson is not a culture guy. He's not, period. He's not. He's a lone wolf. He's going to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it.
Now, his culture
and how
could
he
be
wants to do
the
it.
setting a tone with
Now,
physicality.
Now, that's fine. That's awesome. But what you need is, you don't need the person in the workplace that is going to create drama on a daily basis. I've worked in radio a long time. I've worked with many of them. You don't need the clubhouse lawyers that are constantly behind the scenes. You don't need people that are creating discord and whispering down the lane behind people's backs. You don't need crap like that going on. There are a lot of people that you don't need that if you're going to build a good culture. There's more to just the culture than what CJ brought on the field. You can't have it. You got to have good culture everywhere. And whatever it is, it seems like everybody's willing to say goodbye to him fast.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's now on his fifth team in 5 years.
They're willing to say, okay, we love his talent, but what you got to put up with, we're not willing to put up with.
But here's the thing. Some teams are. Like, people point out that Andy Reid is not afraid to sign players or draft players with checkered pasts.
Well,
and look,
Andy's had a lot of experience,
and they're in the Super Bowl every year.
No,
right? The Chiefs are literally so like.
But also, Andy doesn't. Okay, how do I word this correctly? Andy does not put character is not high on the list of the Kansas City Chiefs when they're deciding on whether they want a player in-house or not.
Right. Some
organizations
don't care.
it's high.
Organizations don't care.
There's a player that the Phillies may be looking at that I understand might cause a lot of people problems.
So do we?
That we'll talk about later.
Do we think enough about other attributes when it comes to a specific player other than just the talent? So I have a bunch of questions sort of off of that. I'll give you another one coming up next. How much should we consider what is best for them versus what is best for the team? It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Thursday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you, so text us at 61.
This hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
It's 6:15 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Do we think enough about other attributes or what goes into a player other than just the talent that we see on the field? is our main topic today, and there's a bunch of branches to it. And so one of the branches I want to get to, you'll hear audio on this coming up in a little bit, but something that we have talked about a lot is Trea Turner's lack of effectiveness at shortstop, I'll say.
I think you're a really kind guy. I've always thought that about
his
you.
lack of effectiveness.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Good.
Good way to put it. How about worst shortstop in baseball since he's been here?
Yeah, that's lack of effectiveness.
Yeah, it's like, how about just the worst? He's the worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay.
And so yesterday during the show, it was when Amy was in, I finally found the quote from Dave Dombrowski on Pattison, where he talked about, yes, they realize that they might need to make a change.
Oh, it's
eventually.
nice. Somebody nudge Dave.
But they also realize that if they move him, they also have to worry about his bat.
Oh.
Now, you roll your eyes at it, you scoff at it.
That's because the mental keeps coming up that mentally it might throw him off.
And look.
Oh.
Well, hold on a second.
Oh.
You keep on going, aw.
Yeah, I am going all.
What if they know more than you do about like how Trea Turner? What if he
Then deal with it. Then
if
I'm going to
he-
say whatever you got to do to go deal with it, and deal with it.
he moves to second base and all of a sudden he goes 0 for 30?
Then-
You're
then
going
I'm-
to freak out.
Then what I'm going to say is, then freaking deal with it. I had to go, oh, you got to deal with, John, you got to work and you have to do double chemotherapy. The guy who's a plumber who has to deal with, he's going through a divorce and his house is in foreclosure.
Yeah.
And he's got to get up in the morning and go to work. Deal with it. I don't want to hear about a $300 million shortstop that doesn't want to go to second base. Deal with it.
What if it's the second baseman that's leading the National League in hits, and then he stinks, and he still stinks at second base, and then he loses his mojo at the plate?
That's what
Mojo.
No, but that's
That's
the
what I'm
point.
saying. Deal with
All right,
it.
you keep on saying deal with it.
Yes. So what does he do? Does he drop to top 10 in hits?
What if his
Then
batting
guess
average
what? Then you know what? Then he's a mentally fragile flower, and that is his freaking problem. And I'm not going to sit here and see my team continually hurt because somebody is so mentally fragile that it's got to be, we got to do this because this is the way he wants it. We already saw this with Kyle Schwarber in leadoff. We've seen, oh, wait a minute. What could we have done with Kyle Schwarber not batting leadoff the last few years?
Yeah, I got
What
you.
could we have done? We now see the results. Oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't the smartest thing, despite all the people that would give you the graphs and say, there are graphs that tell you what he does when the stupidity of it. We all knew it. Anybody who watched baseball from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s could have told you, your best hitter, best power hitter, let's do that.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I never debated that.
No, I'm
at
not
all.
saying that at all. I know that with you, but I'm just saying is, I'm so tired of hearing about what people like and what people want.
But here's the deal: how much, like, when it seems like you're like a team first guy all the time,
Yes.
right? So
Yes, it's got to be team first. It's got to be.
But if and forget the Trea Turner mentally moving to second base thing. Any position in any sport, if a guy's uncomfortable in a certain area, like Tobias Harris
Okay.
was not a corner 3-point shooter. They moved him there because they thought this is what's best for the team.
So you mean they actually tried it?
Yeah, and it didn't
So
work.
they actually tried it.
and they kept force feeding it because it never worked.
We're going to go back to this. So they actually tried it to fix something that wasn't working. Okay. So they tried it.
Yeah, but
That's what teams do.
But they kept doing it.
But
and it was not working for him or for the team.
But they tried it. They didn't. They've not tried anything here.
Okay.
Because they're
So here's
worried
the
about.
deal.
They're
But
worried
here's
about
the- but
somebody's
here's
going to
the
suck.
deal.
Somebody's going to suck their
No,
thumb.
and here's the deal. What if he does end up sucking? What if he goes to second base and goes 0 for 30? You're doing the whole, then he's a mentally
if he
soft
goes,
flower.
If he goes 0 for 30, no, they're worried about him, what he might react if they do it.
Yeah.
How
and if he
might
goes 0
react,
for 30, that could be the reaction. So are you moving him back to shortstop?
how he might react.
I'm asking you, would you move him back to shortstop?
I don't know what I'm going to do, but you know the hell I'm not going to do? I'm not going to sit here and not make moves because I'm worried about his mental state.
They know more than you
Oh
do, I
my
would
gosh!
think.
For God's sakes, let's have juice boxes.
I don't know
and make
why.
sure
I don't know
everybody's
why
so
it always has to
happy.
go to juice boxes and
Because it is because
and
it's
childness.
Because you're not doing. You just gave an example of where they tried something.
Yeah, it didn't work, and then they never moved him back.
So because Tobias Harris, they tried something. You're saying we don't try something with Trea Turner?
Saying, but here's
this is ridiculous.
The point I'm trying to make is if it does not work, would they move him back?
They didn't try something with Kyle
Schwarber. Would they move him back?
We don't know. Let's try it, and then we'll deal with that. We'll deal with your what ifs when they actually try something. When they try to fix the worst problem in baseball.
That's true.
Then
at
we'll
that
see.
Position,
then
yes.
we'll actually see what happens.
All right.
Let's try to fix it first.
Let's hear more about Trea Turner's lack of effectiveness at shortstop, because the conversation has turned national. Hear that next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils drop a close one. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. The Phils carried a 1-0 lead for most of the game thanks to a solo home run in the second inning from Nick Castellanos, but they could not get much else done at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound, and he looked sharp for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, though, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss. Against his former team, he was not able to get the Blue Jays off the board in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phils wrap up that series against the Blue Jays this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles are back on the practice field today for the final time during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up this coming Tuesday, June 10th. One guy you should not expect to see out there or anytime soon on the field is Nakobe Dean, says Adam Schefter, who joined the morning show yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
We will see what ends up happening with that. Hopefully, Nakobe Dean can get out there sooner than later. This update was brought to you by Wendy's. With Wendy's 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Batalico.
Go to your local park and watch a softball game. Seriously, because it is the biggest farce.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. On this Wendy's Thursday morning, Johnny, we got 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards to give away over the course of the show.
People
Wendy's
love them.
Well, hell yeah, man. $50
Why not?
when you can get 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Oh,
they
wait a
let you
minute.
choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit,
That's
small
16
seasoned potatoes,
visits.
or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. That is 16 visits.
Wait a minute, that's 16 visits with a little left over. Brendan Gunn's doing the math in his head going,
Or
wait.
you could bring a guest, go date night, date day.
Date day?
Yeah, date day. Date morning.
Gift card on a date day, not a violation?
No.
Would Mikey Miss wouldn't call that a
No,
violation?
I don't think so.
I don't know if that's a violation. Mikey tends to be the arbiter of those type of
Dude,
things.
years ago, somebody here gave me a gift card to a nice steakhouse that I would not have been able to afford when I'm first working in radio.
Sure.
And I took my wife. Well,
You should go.
girlfriend at the time. Like,
So
why-
because of the gift card, you sealed the deal. You got her to marry you.
Yes, that was what it was.
That's awesome. Why not? Why not?
That night out.
I
Yeah.
love the gift card.
Yeah, why
I am
not,
like a
man?
gift card man. You get me a gift card, I'm happy.
I don't know how you can be anti-gift card. You can do whatever the hell
I
you
know
want
people
with it.
who think they're impersonal and
Yeah, I hear
that
that
somebody
too.
didn't put. I love the gift card.
Yeah, 'cause you can
See,
buy what
I
you
would
want.
like a gift card from you guys. If I got a gift card from my mom, I'm like,
Really?
what am I, chop liver?
Oh wow!
Honestly, dude, I'd be okay with the gift card over like the pair of khakis I get every year.
The girls are complaining because Father's Day's around the corner and I haven't given them anything. And I'm like, look,
Just give me a gift card.
I said, Dick's Sporting Goods, PGA Tour Superstore.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things I like.
See,
Play
that's
golf.
good because maybe they would mess that up. You know what I mean? You know what you like in golf.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
plus right now I am downsizing as I've had to. Now I got to go get a bunch of new clothes. So it's like let me buy my own. Let me buy my own. And you got to check sizes.
yeah.
On stuff.
All that's important.
So,
Also
by
having
the
a-
way, why do large clothes? Why are they the same price as extra large? And why do people who buy smalls?
Why you hating
Listen,
on the bigger people
listen,
out
listen,
there?
listen. The person who goes in the store and buys the medium. So Chunas can buy. Do you ever buy mediums?
Rarely.
Okay, rarely. Okay, so
I'm not walking around like Connor and Bill,
no,
like
exactly.
trying to,
Okay, so if a guy goes in
tight
and
as
buys,
possible.
if a guy goes in and buys a medium golf shirt, and then now I'm buying a large, and I used to buy extra large. Why are we all paying the same price? It's different size fabric.
That's a good point.
Like why are you pay? Why do we pay the same price when, like, if someone buys underwear, you're a 38 waist, somebody else is a 32 waist. Why does the person who buys the underwear that's the 32 waist pay the same price as the guy who's the 38 waist? Nobody has an answer to this.
Never thought of this.
My wife says I have too much time on my hands.
Yes,
with these
you
questions.
do. Yes,
With
you
these
do.
questions.
Yes, you
But
do.
I know that it's a question that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't we?
I'm sorry that keeps you up at night.
No, but wouldn't it motivate people? I tell you this,
Sure.
maybe I wouldn't.
Because we're cheap.
Maybe
Hell
I
yeah,
would-
man.
Right, it would have motivated me to go, hey, let's get to the large, no extra larges.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Yesterday, you sent me something on Trea Turner from Buster
Hembo.
Olney and Paul Hembekitis because the Trea Turner poor defensive issues have gone national. Here was Buster Olney and Paul Hembekitis talking about Trea Turner.
When it comes to his outs above average since joining the Phillies, he's -9, which is a total that puts him 36th among 40 qualifiers. So you might say that's not all that bad, but we can, of course, cast a wider net. A baseball prospectus, they use deserved runs prevented. Over the last 3 years, he's -15, which is the worst among all shortstops. And defensive runs saved, he's at -28, which is 12 runs worse than any shortstop in the major leagues. It's -10, -14, and this year he's at -4. The last guy to go -10 or worse 3 straight years was Yuniesky Betancourt
my
from
gosh.
2008
That's a
to
bust.
2010. I mean, he is playing objectively bad defense, and there are definitely people in the organization that already know that he's not going to stay at shortstop. And so what I would suggest is that they just rip the Band-Aid off as soon as this offseason. Trea Turner should be the Phillies center fielder on opening day next season, and moving him there rather than sticking him at shortstop to remain, honestly, would go a long way in giving this roster more flexibility and, candidly, tapping into his greatest skills, which, of course, are his legs, his athleticism, and thus I think he could be, at minimum, a league average center fielder, if not average plus.
Yuniesky Betancourt was an MLB The
Oh my
Show
gosh, he was
legend for
terrible.
me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
He's just a guy that you always drafted. He was like late in the round. You just picked him up. He batted 8th for you. So the Trea Turner center field thing, like the only thing I don't like about that argument from Hembo, and I'm not disagreeing with anything. Like Trea Turner's been abysmal at shortstop. Does he have the arm for it? Like I don't know.
So as far as an outfield arm,
I haven't seen Trea Turner play outfield since the Nationals when he played right field for them. But here's the deal: he's going to play center field, which means you're tracking more ground, especially if you have Mr. Molasses, Nick Castellanos in right field, who doesn't cover much ground. And then, you got Kepler one day in left. You got Weston Wilson the next day in left.
We got the Bermuda Triangle of Brandon Marsh.
Is Trea, well, we'll get there. Is Trea Turner just a good enough center fielder? Like, I don't know if that all of a sudden will be solved.
You're stuck with him.
Yeah.
So you have to find right now.
What's best
You have to find
for him.
where he hurt. See, now I look at it this way.
Sorry.
Where does he hurt us the least?
But they also said something interesting in there as soon as this off season, not in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Because
they don't want to make a change. Like
because this is the thing is, and it's and to me that's where too is that this organization's snail's pace, this organization's Eeyore ways, that they just they look at everything's cool, everything's fine, we're rolling it back, and they didn't anticipate any of this. By the way, Trea Turner was the worst shortstop in baseball his first 2 years as a Philly. And now it's continuing. They knew this. They didn't care, didn't react. And where Hembo didn't get to is there are people in the organization that will tell you that part of the reason is they're worried about how he will react.
Well, no, Dave Dombrowski straight up said it publicly.
How he will react. So this is the difference. And John Maley, one of our fine listeners who loves to text in and everything, says this is the difference between the Eagles and the Phillies. The Eagles don't give a flip.
Right.
They can have the highest paid player on their defense, free agent. And if they say, this guy's not performing,
trade him away.
He doesn't know. He just doesn't dress in the Super Bowl.
First, right.
And you know what? I'm not playing him, Howie. I'm not playing him. The Phillies? No, we'll cater to it. We'll just cater to it. And, we're not going to make any moves because it might hurt his feelings.
Now, Trea Turner has to play, but the question is when they move him.
And by the way, offensively, to balance it out, Trea has been fantastic this year.
Except for yesterday. Rough day for the Fighters.
Well, I can't get on.
No, I know.
Now, Trea Turner, there's no rocks to be thrown at the offensive game of Trea Turner for almost the whole season, too.
He's been so 300 even right now.
And he's been so consistent for the most part. He's been fantastic.
So, Phils, by the way, they lose 2-1 to the Blue Jays. The Kirk game-winning hit in the bottom of the ninth inning, that ball just...
It kept going.
Dude, I was amazed. Like, I'm watching Rojas track it, and it just kept freaking going to the wall. And so they end up winning 2-1 with the game-winning hit.
Brandon Marsh would have been on his backside watching it.
So, again, yesterday, just another horrible attempt at a ball in center field. I don't get it.
What don't you get? This is where we got to begin.
Their obsession with them. I don't get it.
You do, though. You do. It's this management not willing to admit that they traded away the catcher
of the future
that could have solved this. JT Realmuto could have had his last home game this year. They could have had a nice ceremony at home plate, wished him well, and said, yeah, and we would have had Logan O'Hoppe for the next 10 years. And instead they traded him, and Brandon freaking Marsh continues to kill them in center field.
The guy can't read a ball off the bat.
Oh my God,
it's unbelievable. It's every game at this point.
He's terrible.
Like, even if it's not an error, because they don't,
they can't count that as
they
an
don't
error.
give errors anymore. He
has to touch it to be an error.
Right. It's mental errors. Like, he doesn't get to the ball because he takes the first step incorrectly all the time.
Rojas would have been under that ball last night with 2 steps to spare.
And I know it didn't end up costing them, but
it did.
Yes, it did. Sorry.
It did. It would have been 1-0. That game would have been 1-0.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable how this guy, time and time again, just can't read a ball off the bat.
Oh, my gosh. Totally different game if he catches that ball.
Yeah.
Abel goes another inning.
By the way, great outing again by Mick Abel.
Oh
I know only 5
great.
1/3 this time, but
No,
man,
but
for
great.
start number 2, that was tremendous.
And if he doesn't give up, if Marsh catches the damn ball, Abel continues to pitch in that game.
Yep. All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line for the first time this morning at 610-632-0975. Do we think about other attributes other than just talent when it comes to players? I got a bunch of questions off this. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
You can't do anything about physical.
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. We'll get to our text messages here momentarily, but just one thing I want to be careful with the Trea Turner stuff, right? So I just saw one of our great YouTube commenters, MBD, checks in.
MBD!
And he says, Mookie Betts plays all over the diamond wherever he's needed. I don't care at all what Turner wants. Go do what you're told. Now, here's the deal.
Okay.
Mookie Betts can do it. We know that he can do it.
Do we know if Turner can?
We don't know, but to just say, go do what you're told, there are players. And again, how many times have we talked about the Scott Kingery thing? I don't know what the hell their thought process was trying to turn a second baseman into a third baseman, shortstop, center, utility guy. That
I wasn't here for it, so I would love to hear what they thought.
They thought that they were going to be able to turn him into this super utility player because Ben Zobrist at the time was like the super utility player where they could play him wherever, right? And there was a guy for the Royals, too, another player.
I remember the Zobrist thing.
And it's like, I understand that that's an important piece, but that's an important, bench guy. I can't, over a course of 162 games, have a guy play 4 or 5 different positions every single day.
We're not asking him to, though. And here's the thing is that, again, they how do they find this out? Because organizations try things. Because they actually attempt to try things. And they don't go, this is where people are comfortable. This is what they want. This Phillies organization too much relies on, well, this is what someone wants to do. Bryce wants to play first base, so Rhys Hoskins had to go. His manager didn't want him to go. On the record, did not want Rhys Hoskins to go. But Bryce wanted to play first base.
Now, hold on a second.
Okay.
Part of the reason why he wanted to play first base was to take care of his arm.
No. I'm not questioning that part of it. That part of it's true, and I can understand why. Mm-hmm. But Bryce wanted what Bryce wanted, and that meant the manager felt differently. And obviously Rhys wanted to stay, but Bryce got his way, and the team has missed Rhys that bad. He got his way. They're worried about things. They worry about the weirdest crap. They worry about bringing up guys too early.
That's the weirdest thing.
Justin Crawford, a baseball executive, said to me the other day, still don't understand why Justin Crawford has not gotten a shot at the major league level.
Yeah.
By the way, it's beyond the date of Major League Service that we're talking about Major League Service.
I was just talking about this with one of my buddies last night. The Phillies are literally the only team. It's weird. They're the only team that won't call up somebody that they think might be too early.
The Phillies want somebody to have been married and have 2 kids before they let them come up. I swear. You compare this. Honestly, you know what it is. It's I don't know. I don't understand it. There's just things that they're doing, and I don't care about. Well, why? What did we hear? And I'm not trying to paint a picture here. They said it over and over again. Rob Thompson. Well, Kyle's told us he's very comfortable batting leadoff. Kyle likes batting leadoff. That's what he likes to do. I don't give a flip what he likes to do. For God's sakes. You got to be team. It's got to be about a team. You got to make hard decisions there. And to me, I don't understand it. And they don't try stuff. And all your hypotheticals, and you know how I respect your baseball opinions a lot. And Gunnar, I respect yours too. But I am not going to respect your mythological baseball opinions. I'll respect your baseball opinions that are based in facts. I need to see stuff tried. And then if you tell me, John, we tried it, we've given it enough of a sample size, it obviously isn't working. And then you say, see, it doesn't work. Now we got to do something else. Then I will go, I'll cede the point. You're right.
Well, what if there's no return from that?
Well, guess what? I'm not doing the hypotheticals. No, we're not doing hypotheticals.
Yeah, but look,
you have to try things.
But John, here's the deal. So you're doing the hypotheticals thing. But if Dave Dombrowski's literally talked about it, publicly, it's not like
right.
It's not like this is according to sources. It
isn't. It's talked. No,
hi, I'm Dave Dombrowski,
right.
And we're worried about this.
Well,
so if they are worried about it, maybe there is more to it than what we even know.
Here's the thing. Again, they were worried about Kyle Schwarber not batting leadoff. They were worried about it. Kyle likes.
They also thought that was the new age.
They did
most plate appearances.
They did.
They said he was comfortable there. They were not scared that Kyle Schwarber would then go into a downward spiral.
They used words flat out. They used words. Prefers, likes. He prefers it. He likes it. Comfortable. Those 3 words. That means they're talking to Kyle, and Kyle's telling them,
and you know what
if I have my choice, I bet leadoff. This isn't Little League. Hey, you're the best player on the team, Brandon Gunn. What do you want to do? I want to bat third, and I want to play shortstop. This isn't Little League. This is a team. This is an organization. Do what you're freaking told. Do what you're told.
I understand that. In a perfect world, if they were like just 2K, MLB 2K the show, then they would be fine to do that. I just worry about Trea Turner, who has gone out there and spoken about how when he was in the dumps, he could not get it together. If you move him to second base and he loses the leading hit getter in the NL, which he is right now, and he starts to suck at the plate, and he already sucks in the field, it doesn't matter if you move him to second. He's not going to get any better there. He's still going to stink, just less balls are hit to him.
Here's Mullen. Mullen, one of our listeners, Mullen, sends in a note. Mull, what's up, buddy? Mullen sends in a note. He goes, John, who's the greatest player in the game? Ask Andrew. Because I already know what he says next in the next line.
Ichiro Suzuki.
No, the greatest player in the game.
Oh, what, right now?
Yeah.
Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani.
Well, he's saying Shohei Ohtani. Because he goes, Shohei Ohtani has wanted to pitch. Has said he wanted to pitch. He's on the record that he wanted to pitch. The Dodgers have told him, you are not pitching.
Hold on a second.
The Dodgers,
he's not back yet.
They've told him, they've not let him go in further in his pitching.
Because he's more valuable at the plate. He's more valuable at the plate.
But he wanted to do more. They've held him back.
Okay,
because he said,
as they should.
Because Shohei Ohtani is more valuable at the plate than he would be pitching, and Trea Turner is more valuable at the plate than he would be in the field at second base.
But what the greatest player in the game want, the Dodgers said, we don't care. We have a long-term investment in you, and you're the greatest player in the game, and you're going to do what you're told. We don't care what you want. You're going to do what you're told. By the way, he's there. He is 10 months behind throwing what he was told he could do by what the Dodgers Dodgers doctors told him he could do. The Dodgers are like, nah, we're going to take this really slow.
They're going to take their time.
And I don't think they're going to let him throw.
I think eventually he will.
You think he will?
I don't see why he would be pitching against live batters. What? Just to like placate him, like appease him.
He's the greatest player in the game, and he wants to.
Yeah.
Because I think he wants to go down in history as this.
I don't blame him. By the way,
you know what I mean?
Shout out to Derek on Twitter. How could I have
What's up,
forgotten
Derek?
the Royals utility player that I was thinking
was
of?
it?
Former Philly Whit Merrifield.
Oh, Whit Merrifield.
Oh, God, how did I forget that one?
Yeah, he went to the Braves and started hitting.
Yeah, well, no, he's not even. He's not even on a team right now.
Remember when he went to the Braves and started
that
hitting?
happened. Yes. He's not even on a team this year. All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topics, check our text messages, and also another sort of avenue to this question today. What about playing here in Philadelphia? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Romano blows it against his former team. I'm Brendan going with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Wendy's. With Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. The Phillies dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. The Phils carried a 1-0 lead for most of the game thanks to a solo home run from Nick Castellanos in the second inning, but they could not get much done else at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound. He looked sharp for the most part again. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team after he was not able to keep the Blue Jays off the board in the bottom of the 9th. The Phils look to wrap up the series against the Blue Jays this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles are back on the practice field today for the final time during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up this coming Tuesday, June 10th. One guy you should not expect to see out there or on the field anytime soon is Nakobe Dean, said Adam Schefter, who joined Kincade and Salciunas yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
Hopefully sooner than later for Nakobe Dean. This update was also brought to you by WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private because your personal messages are yours. No one else can see them or hear them, not even WhatsApp. WhatsApp, message privately with everyone. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball insider Jason Stark.
This rotation is much better.
other than talent when it comes to an athlete, evaluating an athlete. Now, this came from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and his Instagram post yesterday. If you missed it, Vic Fangio the other day was asked about trading Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and he said that was a salary cap decision and that he was fine with it. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he got back to him, and so yesterday on Instagram, took a little exception to it, and he said the following: I was a test dummy for them, so now they can be like, my scheme work, or did my skill set make it work? I had zero issues. People had issues with me. So, yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse.
I think his feelings were hurt by the way Vic Fangio answered the question.
We know that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is an emotional guy.
Right, and I think his feelings got hurt. And I sort of understand it. I thought the answer sucked. I thought Vic's, and I said it to you yesterday when we played it.
Yeah.
I thought his answer sucked. I thought he came off very in a way condescending.
Like we don't need him.
Like, no, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with them leaving.
I can work without him.
Yeah. I felt that was really sort of.
And so here's the deal. Like, I'm still not in favor of the trade. Right? Like, I'm not. Like, in terms of.
And you and I both are that way.
In terms of who he is as the safety of the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, I saw them get to 2 Super Bowls.
Sure.
With him on the team, right? And that's not just like an emotional attachment for me. I saw them go to the Super Bowl. I saw them, like, I would never, call a man weak to his face, right, or anything like that. But, like, you get what I'm saying. The following year, they sort of walked around like their tails were between their legs
because of the fact that they didn't have the same swagger without him. And we agree.
That 49ers moment, I will never forget what they did pregame, walking through the defensive back drills. Right, so like that's what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have been a part of. They walked through their DB drills, and they just were like, "Guys, stop!"
And James Bradbury just watched it.
And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have been the first one. And do we know if he's there, they win that game, or they don't lose, they don't start spiraling out of control? Like, I don't know. But when I hear Lane Johnson say the Niners took our soul that day, part of me goes, all right, well, if you had the guy that wouldn't have put up with it, maybe that changes a little bit.
I always say 20 minutes into that game, and we were sitting in Ron Davis's seats. Shout out to Ron Davis. Liv and I went to that game, and we were like 10 rows off the field in the end zone. I remember in that game, 20 minutes into that game, the Eagles were up 6-0.
Dude, the 49ers had 2 yards.
And the Eagles were up 6-0.
Yeah.
And had not cashed in for touchdowns. If the Eagles had been up 10-0 or 14-0.
Totally different story, maybe.
That one game goes differently, and I think the rest of the season maybe goes differently. That's how mentally that whole season went. That team got broken by the ass beating and everything that went down. It was unbelievable what happened there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was a big part of the success here. I appreciated it as a fan. I thought Vic's answer, and I understand, Vic's a very old school.
Yeah. And again, we love that he gets straight to the point. Yeah.
But to me, I just sort of felt that answer was dismissive as far as, yeah, we're fine without him. And I think that sort of sucked. Because
And people always talk about the attitude that he brought, but both years he was here, he also produced on the field itself. He led the team in interceptions.
He did, yeah.
Both times he was here. He led the NFL in interceptions the first time.
Why wouldn't you just say, would it have taken a lot to say, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you all saw his impact on the field, and we're going to have to find a way to replace that? That's all you have to say.
Yeah. Unless Vic doesn't feel that way, and we do love that he is honest. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It's a Wendy's Thursday. Let's give out the first $50 gift card.
You got that smile on your face, that Wendy's smile. So does Mr. Gunn in there.
Well, at least I worked for Wednesday night hoop night. I burned the calories before the Wendy's comes in. First caller, 610-632-0975. We'll get our first of 4 $50 gift cards to Wendy's. Wendy's breakfast, 2 for $3 biggie bundles. Lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. So we have a couple of different branches to this conversation about if we think about the other attributes or things that come with a player other than just the talent. we then got into a conversation of what is best for the player versus what is best for the team, sort of the Trea Turner discussion. It's led to a lot of discourse on our YouTube chat about how whether or not.
How's it fall? How does it fall, the discussion?
It's honestly, it's kind of split.
Okay.
I think it was Ed Wright who checked in.
What's up, Ed?
And here you go. He said not forcing Turner to go to the outfield isn't coddling. It's just baseball.
I'm not saying outfield. By the way, I'm saying
right,
second
you
base.
said second. He says he hasn't played. Well, they have their own conversation,
Right,
which I
okay,
love.
that's
They have
good.
that
That's
community.
good.
He says he hasn't played there in 7 years, so it's not impossible, but not smart. Kind of like Edmundo Sosa. Let's try Sosa, and it clearly didn't work, and they haven't gone back to it.
Right,
So,
that's a different situation.
It is a different situation. I know. They wanted to get him on the field because he was hitting the ball so well.
Correct.
But it shows you that, and this was what I was trying to say at the time with Sosa. Because remember, I think Connor was still in, and he'll be back on Monday, and we were talking about should they try Edmundo Sosa in the outfield. I didn't want them to try it.
See, I love to try
an
things.
angle off of a bat in left field is a lot different than a ground ball to shortstop or a ground ball to second. You have to practice those angles. And I don't know the last time Edmundo Sosa played in the outfield.
By the way, that same game when he had the problem in the outfield, his bat still helped in that same game.
And he also made that, remember, he robbed a home run in the first inning.
So, I mean, it's like, I always want to try things. I'm always saying, you guys probably get tired of it, I always say break eggs. I am a believer that you break eggs. The only way you find out if something works is by trying it. Try things. Don't be afraid to try things in life. Don't be afraid to say, I hate it when I hear somebody go, I don't like that. Have you ever tried it? Have you ever, no.
Oh.
A friend of mine told me, have you ever been there? Like somebody will go, I don't want to go there. Have you ever gone? No. I heard from somebody it wasn't good. No.
Try it yourself.
Don't listen to somebody else. Don't read a movie review and say, that movie sucks. Don't read a restaurant review and say, that restaurant sucks because a restaurant review came in.
It's like Rate My Professor. Like you probably got ripped on yours, John.
No, I got great.
By the way, he was zaddy, remember?
By the way, I'm a zaddy.
But yeah, every time
That's where I found out that I had this appeal that I didn't know I had.
I would go on that in college. I'd be scared, poopless. I was about to say something else, but
you got a bad.
What about?
Look, I got a bad my professor. Oh yeah, dude, I scouted that thing like a combine.
And the guys who had the guys and girls who had the worst grades on that per the students, I'd go in there. I'd learn the most from them.
Oh, is that right?
It was, except for that guy who taught statistics in the news. That guy can kick rocks,
dude.
By the way,
I hated that class.
By the way, that class is still around.
I know it is.
I know kids. Liv did not have it.
I hated
she
that
had. She had to take the real statistics.
God bless their souls.
Yeah, I hated that class.
Oh, God rest them. Rest them.
Give us a text message, and then I want to ask another question that I teased going to the break. But what do we got on the text line there, Gunner?
We got Chris in Lancaster checking in saying Turner is making $300 million. I don't care if they tell him to go clean the bathrooms. He has to go do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I get that that's a mentality for people. I understand.
I just don't. The mental fragility, whenever I hear about, someone may not handle it well mentally.
Wow.
Guess what? I'm going to say, well, then we're going to try it. We're going to see if you handle it well mentally. And then if you don't handle it well mentally, we're going to work with you to make sure you can find your way through it. And that is how I live my life. So I walk the walk, I talk the talk.
Did they pay him to come here and be the best defensive shortstop, or did they pay him to lead the National League in hits?
There's nothing in his contract that says he's a shortstop. Nothing in his contract that says he's a shortstop. And so that's bottom line. That's bottom line. He has to produce. He's hurting the team. He's the worst. He is the worst shortstop in baseball since he's been here. He's killing them. And instead of, they're actually pussyfooting around it.
Killing them is going a step too far.
He's the worst defensive shortstop. So
but
in
it's
other
not
words,
killing them. That's so minuscule in how you build a baseball team in 2025. Like, people care more about what you do at the plate than what you do in the field. I knew it killed the Yankees in the World Series for a game, but they got there based on their bats.
You really do think, well, first off, you and I definitely value defense differently in baseball. And you think a shortstop is a position that you can just go, yeah, we can be bad at shortstop.
like usually left field,
You
right
can't
field.
be bad at shortstop.
You
No, you
try
cannot
to
be
hide
bad
the
at
guys in the
shortstop. Like,
I
outfield,
understand
yeah.
I
that,
don't
but
want
he's
you
still
as my
making the
GM.
play 9 times out of 10.
No, at the plate, it's different. I don't want him as my shortstop. We got to find a way that he doesn't kill us defensively. He's terrible.
No, I agree with you. I just don't think you can do that in the middle of a season. Because he's going to lose it mentally.
We don't know that to be true, and that's the point that John's trying to make.
So
However,
if Scott,
but again, Dave Dombrowski is on the record saying it.
So if Scott does something to me at work, so Scott, our boss, does something to me at work, it's going to affect me that it then, when I go home, it's going to affect Christina at home.
I'm
trying to draw a correlation.
I'm sure that does happen to people.
I'm sure it does. Then you know what? Then you know what you got to do. Then you know what you got to do. Then you got to find help to deal with it.
Yeah.
Then you're somebody who needs help. Then you get help for it. That's what you need help. If we're worried about his mental state, about moving a position in baseball when he's being paid $300 million, then we got a real problem.
All right, coming up next, we'll open up do we evaluate enough about whether or not a player can play here in this city or not? We'll get into that coming up next. Also, remember the other day we talked about the player that needs to step up this season, offense, defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. It was kind of coming off of that Andrew DeCecco article.
Yes.
One half of my answer got rave reviews from one of his Eagles teammates, and I loved it. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
Lazar's made, 11, 12 starts this year? 11 of them have been...
Kincade Salciunas is brought to you by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the Bet Parks app and play all your favorite casino games. Bet Parks has a great offer for new users. Got to be 21, Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is 7:12 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic, on this Thursday morning. So yesterday I saw a tweet from Dave Zangaro, who got a chance to speak with Jalen Carter, who we all love. He's a beast.
I love it, Jalen.
He's dominant. And he talked about rookie defensive tackle Ty Robinson. Mm-hmm. So if you remember when we did the conversation of who needs to step up or who we need to see have an impact season, I said whoever's playing next to Jalen Carter, because you know that Jalen Carter will continue to get double, triple teams, right? So if it's an Ojomo or if it's a Ty Robinson or if it's a Thomas Booker the fourth, like whoever's on the field, you're going to have one-on-one battles. And you need to be able to win those one-on-one battles. And so Ty Robinson, as we were talking about the other day, the team, most likely being that he was a fourth-round pick, would maybe want him to be the guy that ends up winning whatever job for the X amount of snaps that they play, because you lost a lot with Milton Williams going to the Patriots. So this is what Jalen Carter had to say about him. You seen him yet? That boy fire. I ain't going to lie. He's moving good. He's a big boy. He's here and he's working. I think he's going to have a big impact this season.
How about that?
I love that out of Jalen Carter. And I love that there's somebody that we can be excited for, because that, even though I think the New England Patriots are insane, respectfully, Milton, to give Milton Williams that much money. Right? Like, I do believe he benefited from playing next to Jalen Carter.
Sure.
You got to give him credit. He won his one-on-one battles, but
yes, he did.
He benefited playing next to one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. But they need somebody to be able to try to replace what Milton Williams brought to them, which was a guy in the middle that could get to the quarterback, because Jordan Davis does not really do that. And so I love hearing that from Jalen Carter about Ty Robinson.
I love that too. It was that's nice, because there are a lot of times where veteran players, even though Jalen Carter is only a year 3 player coming up, there are a lot of times where veteran players don't like to refer to the young guys. Don't like to give them, let them earn their stripes before we even refer to them. I love the new attitude of that.
Well, I
welcome them in.
Again,
show them support.
That's a culture thing that the Eagles have put in place. I mean, we've seen that now with Fletcher Cox when Jalen Carter got here, and Jordan Davis when he got here.
They bragged on them.
We've seen it with Jason Kelce and Cam Jurgens. Jason Kelce was the guy that helped pick Cam Jurgens as his eventual replacement. And look, I don't blame a vet who is still trying to be a starter and doesn't, like, I still remember the Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis saga, when Ryan Tannehill was like, I'm not here to
groom him.
Like, I still believe I'm a starter in the NFL. Who was
I hate that.
Did you hear Joe Flacco the other day?
Yeah, I did. I can't believe Joe Flacco at like 45 has that attitude.
But Joe Flacco, no, but like his answer was spot on. He goes, if I say I'm not trying to help out the younger players, you will take exception with it. If I say that I'm trying to help the younger players, you will say that I'm just here for along the ride. So I'm just not going to answer the question.
And then he answered it anyway and buried himself.
See, I think that's crazy. No, I want you to be, now, a guy we've had on the show many times, Matt Ryan.
Yes.
I watched Matt Ryan with young quarterbacks behind him always take the time to go out of his way to make sure the young quarterbacks were being brought along, take the time to help them, take the time to groom them, take the time. Because he's secure. If you're insecure, you're not. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you shun them.
There's a lot of athletes who are
Brett
insecure,
Favre, you shun them. Yeah. If you're Brett Favre, you shun them. Brett Favre shunned Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was pissed about it.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
To Jordan Love. It's incredible.
But here's the athletes always are looking over their shoulder, man. But this Eagles culture shows that they work together, and I love that.
Here's what I think, though, is that in life, if you do that to the next generation, it says more about you than it does.
Oh, yeah, you and I always try to help out.
Right.
Hey,
like the person
can I talk to you for 10 minutes? Sure.
Because it says more about you. It says that you are, because people did it for us.
Yeah.
And then we knew people that didn't.
And you know what? People that didn't, you go, I don't want to do what that guy did. I
don't
want to try
be them.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. I want to try to help.
I don't want to be like that person.
All right. One of the other branches to this conversation about how we evaluate players and if there's more than just talent, what about us, the city of Philadelphia, the hard media, the fans, even though we have all said it's gotten a little bit softer here, but you know that it could still get pretty rough and tough in this city.
Get rough.
And so, I think about Carson Wentz, right? And look, if the injury doesn't happen, who knows what the career of Carson Wentz was.
I think if he doesn't get injured in L.A.
And then Nick Foles has the moment.
Right.
But I know that there were concerns coming out, the small town kid, North Dakota State. Remember when he goes to the Colts, he talks about how
my kind of people,
a little bit more his scene, right? And look, it didn't work out for him there either, so it's not like that really helped all that much. But how much should we evaluate? And I know the GMs and the executives do this. Trust us, they do that. But how much when we talk about players should we realize whether or not they can make it in this city? I always bring up that Steven Nelson clip from like 2 years ago. I appreciated his honesty.
Self-awareness is great.
He had a decent season, not great season. He had a decent season as the other corner opposite of Darius Slay a few years ago and did not come back after 1 year. Why? He kind of admitted it a few years later. Like, I couldn't handle that city.
I'm not built for it.
Yeah.
I'm not built for this. I don't feel like it. I don't I understand that the self-awareness of like a Steven Nelson, that should be applauded. And by the way, in a league where you get to choose where you work,
Yeah.
And so pick where you're going to be comfortable. Because if you're comfortable, you're probably going to thrive in that.
Yeah.
But if you choose to work in Philadelphia and you picked it,
be prepared.
Deal with it.
Right. Be prepared.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
It is what it is. Players talk, right? They all talk to each other. They know how difficult it can be here.
If you have to play second base, play second base.
All right, we'll get more text messages on our topics coming up next.
Thumb.
Speaking of the Phillies, there was a strange report on Aaron Nola yesterday. So we'll get to that. Also, I can already tell that a lot of you are falling in love. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils drop a close one. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phils dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. The Phils carried a lead for a 1-0 lead for most of the game thanks to a solo home run by Nick Castellanos in the second inning, but they could not get much else done at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound and he looked sharp for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team. He was not able to keep the Blue Jays off the board in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phils look to wrap up that series against the Blue Jays this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles are back on the practice field today for one final time during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up next Tuesday, June 10th. One guy you should not expect to see out there or on the field anytime soon is Nakobe Dean, said Adam Schefter, who joined Kincade and Salciunas yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
Hopefully we do see Dean on the field sooner than later. He was great last year. This update was brought to you by Wendy's. With Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can...
Fanatic. Did you see what happened pregame between the Angels and Red Sox yesterday?
I like the positive energy.
There was plenty of it. So Tyler Anderson, who was a left-handed pitcher for the Angels, he and the first base coach of the Boston Red Sox got into a bit of an argument pregame, right? They were just on the field, and Tyler Anderson approached Mr. Flores, and they had to be separated. So Mike Rodriguez, who covers Major League Baseball, according to his sources,
okay,
because everybody wanted to find out what the hell happened here. The problem happened earlier this week during the series when Tyler Anderson was pitching, and the first base coach of the Boston Red Sox, he believes, was stealing signs. Anderson allowed 5 runs that day,
which is legal.
So the next morning, Tyler Anderson went up to the first base coach, and they got into a bit of a screaming match. Dude, fair game. This isn't the Astros,
it's not cheating.
This isn't they had an iPad and the banging of the trash cans and, cameras and all that kind of stuff. This is sign stealing, which has been going on forever.
And there's nothing illegal about it.
No,
it's called I'm getting one up on you.
Yeah, and
you need to change your signs.
Tyler Anderson, I get it, man. You've been having a good season up until that outing. That's on you, man, or that's on you and your catcher. That's on you and your manager, depending on how he was stealing the signs. Unless he had a wire tapped into the little button thing that they use,
Which he did, which he's not being accused of, right?
You can steal signs.
You can. Too bad. Sorry you don't like it. I mean, sorry for you.
Are you allowed to take exception to it though?
No.
Yo, dude,
it's
relax.
legal.
Well, so that's when policing the game happens, right? So there was not to do Al Bundy here. When I was in high school, we had if the catcher was not doing multiple signals and you were on second base, if it was a curveball, you touched your helmet.
Okay.
And the shortstop of the team I was playing against noticed me touching my helmet every time there was a curveball called. And then the next at bat I had, there were a couple high-in pitches, right? But that's different.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The next day, you just feel a certain type of way that you approach the guy because he was stealing signs.
It's soft to me.
It's part of the game, man.
Yeah, you got to go out there and if you're going to police it, throw at him. Don't do it before the game like the tough guy.
But why would you be throwing at him?
Yeah, no, you should change the way you're doing signs.
You should change the way you're doing things, but I think there should be retribution for you stealing the signs.
Why?
I feel like that's just the way baseball is.
Yeah, so yes, policing.
Do you think retribution for stealing signs?
Yeah, ultimately you have to change it and get better, but I'm still going to be ticked off at you for doing it.
Wow. I'd be ticked off at myself for being so foolish that I'm getting caught.
Yeah, it's Romano earlier this year. I don't think people were stealing signs, but he was tipping his pitches, right? And
that's on him.
Is that his problem, or is that cheating? It's not like he's tipping his pitches. That's on him.
Yeah, it's not cheating or anything like that. But I understand the frustration.
So why would there be retribution?
It's always been that way.
Yeah, but you know what? Tyler Anderson, instead of going up to the first base coach the next day all angry, should go, all right, how do we fix that?
Yes.
I don't know. I found it a little weak that it's let me go yell at the guy that's doing the stealing and not let me fix what I'm doing.
Yeah, that is the ultimate problem. You have to be better. I don't agree with going up to him before the game. I think that's weak. But
yeah.
I wouldn't have been mad at him if he plucked somebody.
Yes. Because that is part of the game. All right. So yesterday, bit of a strange report with Aaron Nola. Now all of a sudden he's feeling discomfort in his side.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
what's it seem like?
I don't know.
Do you believe any of the medical reports? I'm starting to think that it's the Sixers medical staff.
Well,
has gone over because I have no idea.
I feel like I almost have to buy the ankle thing now that it's been. When's the last time he pitched?
Okay, well then this is
May 14th. We're almost close to a month.
Okay, what's the Harper thing? We got the Harper thing. Now we got this.
That was a few days. We're pushing on a month here.
Well, Harper's a week out. He's a week out of the lineup.
Well, what are you
He missed
confused
four
about that?
four games.
He got smacked in the elbow, but he knew he was going to be back before he had to go on the IL. Like, what's confusing about that?
Well, we've played short for a week in a critical series when we spun out of
Yeah,
control.
but no, but I don't. It's not. There was nothing like misleading about. He was bruised, right? Like the Aaron Nola thing. Like I'm trying to figure out.
No, the medical staff let him. They should have just said, take the time off and then get back.
But they weren't withholding anything.
When Nola first went on the injured list, I'll be honest, my first thought was, all right, is there anything really there? Like,
okay,
are they sitting him down a little bit to fix his head a little bit, maybe rest the arm a little bit because obviously the velocity was down. But now all of a sudden, yesterday, here's the tweet from Matt Gelb. Aaron Nola's absence is going to be a bit longer. He felt some soreness in his right side, very mild, according to Rob Thompson. But he was supposed to throw live BP today. He's now not going to be doing that. And then he was also sick, which apparently a lot of the players are. And so that's going to probably push things back, too, for Aaron Nola. I don't know when we see him back. I imagine it's later this month. He's probably going to make some sort of rehab start. I don't know. It's almost been a month.
I heard about the cold that was going around. Thoughts and prayers.
Oh.
Thoughts and prayers.
Toronto's a fun party city, I've heard, right?
Toronto's great.
But I don't know what the deal is with Nola. I'm guessing now that it's been almost a month, there was something there. That's just a guess because I don't see anybody sitting a guy for a month. But
how'd that Embiid surgery go?
Still ramping up.
Got any update on? We have any update on?
He's ramping up to the Summer X Games.
We have any update on that?
Summer X Games.
Any update on the Embiid surgery?
I don't know why.
I mean, I don't trust any of these teams with their medical reports anymore. I don't trust anything that's coming out of their mouths at all.
So do you think there's a chance that they're just still sitting Aaron Nola?
Yes, absolutely.
Because they've been playing good baseball and they have other guys to showcase.
Yeah, and hopefully they can just make sure he's completely over whatever he was struggling with. And I don't believe that they made up the ankle thing. I think that was totally real.
Yeah, I think that was real.
Seen a pickleball in his driveway here and there.
Now, the thing is with Nola, like, he's also, even though I know people think he's got, like, no attitude or no, like, he's a competitor, right? When you take the ball every fifth day and you throw 200 innings every single season, like, they would have had to have had him on board with this. Whatever long absence there is.
I don't believe Aaron Nola would ever sit out. There has to be something that he is coming back from. And they're saying, okay, let's just take a little more time just to make sure.
That's why I'm saying, like, now that it's been almost a month, like,
he is a guy that has gone above and beyond to be available.
Yeah.
Ultimate respect. The ultimate respect I've got for him.
That's why I keep on saying there now, especially this far in, it's got to be something.
He's not a malingerer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe he's just having a bad health season, right? Like we've seen it again. This is what we were worried about. As much as we credit him for taking the ball every fifth day and throwing 200+ innings, at some point those innings add up.
Of course it does.
And maybe we're seeing that this year. And maybe he's better next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I am a little concerned because I did see on social media he was at lunch with Joel Embiid and Paul George. So I'm hoping that some of their behaviors haven't rubbed off on him.
Man, I'm telling you.
Hoping not.
MVP.
Hoping not.
Another MVP Embiid season. That'd be great.
Yeah.
By the way,
you got to play like the amount of games now. You don't be counting on that.
That's true. By the way, I can tell a lot of people are falling in love, as they should. It's been fun to watch Mick Abel pitch so far. Another good outing yesterday. Now, it's just funny. Like even before that outing yesterday, you were talking about how critical of a start it was going to be, and
because you want the leverage.
Correct. Absolutely.
How are you looking now?
But I can tell you're already afraid to move on from him.
I am. Because to me, there's nothing more valuable in baseball than controllable starting pitching. Period. Number one asset you can have. Because it frees up your entire financial roster. It's the one thing that if you've got that, you've got the freedom to buy anything else you need to buy. You need to buy big relievers. You need to buy position players. And by the way, the Phillies have a history of buying position players.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So to me, that's what you want. Everything I'm seeing out of Mick Abel, and by the way, Painter got rocked a little bit last night. I'm not worried about that in the least. I have two young pitchers that I think a lot of. I saw another outing out of Abel that I'm feeling really good about. And that to me, does not say flip. That says keep. There's a show, you don't watch HGTV much. My wife always has it on.
You should see what's on HGTV.
I
know that jingle.
I didn't know that was a jingle.
I remember the jingle. I don't watch
that.
it, though.
There's a show called Love It or List It, where they take somebody's house and they like come and fix it up.
Yeah, I probably watched it at the
And they
dentist's
say,
office before.
do you want to love it or do you want to list it after they do the fix up of your house?
Yeah.
Do you want to sell it or do you want to stay? The more I see a Mick Abel, every better outing tells me you're staying. Let someone else go.
I think that's the last show I watched before my wisdom teeth were pulled out.
Love it or list it?
I don't know. It's always on a dentist. Like, HGTV is the doctor's office, dentist's office television
or
channel.
Chip and Joanna. They're on a lot, too. They're on quite a bit. And I would think you'd like Joanna.
You're a big fan of this channel, huh?
It's always on. My wife loves those shows. She loves all those shows. And I like the Love It or List It I will watch. And I'll watch Chip or Joanna anytime. Let's just say.
Chip Kelly?
I'd maybe go to Waco and see Chip and Joanna.
Oh, that's nice. All right, coming up next. Can one of the biggest whiner NFL franchises be this year's juggernaut? One reporter may think so.
Uh-oh.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia.
It's time to eat. Oh, is that a burrito? Oh, dude, thanks, Johnny. I haven't seen the Wendy's breakfast burrito in the last couple. Oh, dude. See, John Kincade, foxhole guy, finding the breakfast burrito, man.
Did they specially make that for you?
I don't know. I love a dude. I'm a big burrito guy. Like breakfast, lunch, dinner, I don't care. Burrito, yes. I've done dessert burritos where I do the peanut butter and jelly with banana inside a wrap.
How'd you come up with that one?
A lot of influence. That's how I came up with it. Yeah, but no, I love a burrito. So how about you guys enjoy breakfast with us? Wendy's 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. Let's do caller number 3 this time at 610-632-0975. The third caller will get the second of our 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards as I'm going to crush this burrito in the upcoming commercial break. But we have to get there first. So let's have some more content, Johnny. So yesterday, Ralph Vacchiano, who we reference him pretty often, he covers the NFL for Fox. He did an interesting article. Just, it's summertime, so they're trying to find a way to still talk football, right? We did the Sports Illustrated head coach quarterback rankings list yesterday. So,
which they tore apart on NFL Live, too.
As they should have.
They destroyed it.
Maybe Schefter told people
it's
about
almost
it
like,
after you talked to him.
That could be. It's almost like they really did do that on purpose.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Who wants their work to be, though? Write something so terrible that everybody's going to rip it.
There are people that do that.
Fox Sports 1 exists.
Dude,
that is the truth.
There are people in this city that say nonsense to get a reaction. And they sold their soul to it.
Sometimes they write stuff about Joel Embiid's brother.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It happens.
I've heard stories about page-click wars inside companies. I've heard all about it. All right, so Ralph did an article. Who will be the NFL's last unbeaten team in 2025? And so what he basically did was
looked at the schedules
and did some quick W's and L's. So he has the Eagles not being unbeaten after week 2. He has them losing to the Chiefs. So they would be 1-1. So they quickly leave the contest here of the eliminated teams. I'll skip ahead to week.
By the way, I've got no issue if somebody says,
yeah,
I'm picking the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to lose when they go to Kansas City. Ultimate revenge game. I got no problem with that.
So
I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I'll tell you that week.
He has the last unbeaten team through week 11, entering week 12. And that team is the Baltimore Ravens. He looked at their schedule. He knows how talented Baltimore is.
Wow.
He has them going 11-0 to start the season.
Okay, I'm gonna just pull it up right now as we're talking. So let me just take a look at this because that may be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Why?
Because I just don't believe first of all, I don't believe the Ravens are that good. First of all, they open at Buffalo.
That's tough.
They may lose first week.
They could.
They've got Detroit at home week 3.
Oh man,
They got Detroit at home week 3. They're at Kansas City week 4. They are not undefeated at the end of the first month.
That's tough.
They're done.
That's a tough schedule.
They're done. Then the second month. So if they somehow are 4-0, they got Houston at home. They should win that. They go to Minnesota. They go to Miami. There's no way they're
it's the early season juggernaut.
They're not 11-0. Are you kidding me?
Now,
nonsense.
That's not the team that I'm not really focused on.
Who else do they have going long undefeated?
They have a team going 8-0.
Who?
In the NFC before getting handed their first loss.
Dallas Cowboys? No, can't be Dallas.
I said Whiners.
Whiners?
One of the biggest whiners from this past offseason.
Is it the
Packers?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay, let me check it out.
I looked at their schedule. There is a chance. They have a tough week 1 and week 2. And then
they got Detroit and Washington at home first 2 weeks.
That's tough.
Could they be 2-0? Sure. At Cleveland,
by the way, both at home,
yes.
The Lions and Commanders.
At Cleveland, at Dallas, home with Cincinnati, at Arizona, at Pittsburgh. No, they're not 8-0. That team's not 8-0. They're not good enough to be 8-0.
I don't think so either.
But they're a good team.
Yeah, they'll probably be in the playoffs this year. I mean, that division's stacked, as we know.
The Eagles are going to roll into Green Bay. They're going to be a They're going to be a 6-2 club when they roll into Green Bay, something like that.
And the Eagles could probably be 6-2.
No, that's what I think.
At the same time.
No, I think that's about what they're going to look. I think that's going to be like a matchup of two really good teams. I respect the hell out of what Matt LaFleur's done, but that's
you just
going
don't
to be
like
a big
the
matchup.
you just don't like the eyebrows. That's the only thing you don't respect.
It's funny. My wife's getting an eyebrow waxing this morning. I think she might be sitting right next to Matt. Could
By
be
the way, so there was only one other team that he had starting 5-0.
Okay, give it to me.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Wow, that's an interesting. That is a bold and beautiful take.
Saints, Panthers, Niners, Seahawks, Titans. That Niners one might be tough, but I could see them beating the Saints, Panthers, Seahawks, Cardinals. It's in San Francisco.
I could easily see that. And then wait a minute. Then they're at the Colts. Arizona's going to. Yeah, Arizona should come out of the gate pretty strong.
Arizona could be one of those sneaky teams that you bet a future on for making the play. I'm not saying winning the Super Bowl.
No, but for making the playoffs, sure. Yeah.
You know, Kyler Murray's now been there for a while, and he's now. I imagine there's going to be more from Marvin Harrison Jr. this year.
No, I
their tight end's a freaking stud.
God,
Trey
I think
McBride.
I actually think I like that. They get Seattle at home week 4 on a short week. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, if they can win that San Francisco game, they're looking good.
Yeah. I like this kind of stuff. Like
now that's interesting
because he spent the time to like look at every single team. Whether you agree with the Ravens being 11-0, like I don't, but I just thought it was an interesting spin on
I think he's a really. I think he is a fantastic writer too.
Yeah, I like Ralph. So. All right, what do we got on the text line, Gunner? On any of our topics, 610-632-0975.
Yeah, we got somebody just checking in on the game as a whole and an observation they had on last night's game. Hey, fellas, sometimes the bats don't wake up. That's what happened last night. I think we can all recognize that. But what we also have to recognize was last night was the first time Alvarado's actions cost this team a game.
Could be. I mean, Romano's been a guy that's been pitching for them late.
I think last weekend you could say that Alvarado's actions cost them.
I think Alvarado's actions are going to cost them a lot.
Yeah.
Until they acquire bullpen arms.
Because it's going to be a cumulative effect.
Yeah. Like, we don't know. Look, again, we don't know. Alvarado could have pitched 2 days ago and then may not have been available last night. But I get the point that he's trying to make, that maybe that's the spot where Alvarado's in the game and not Romano. Right. And then they don't end up losing the ball.
And Romano, by the way, has been good 10 of the last 12.
Yeah.
So
that ball, also, the way the Phillies are, Rob Thompson, is you don't think they give Romano a shot to go back to his former team, his country, and maybe try to close out a game. Like, maybe, I feel like that's the way he manages.
I didn't have a problem with. I would have put Romano in last night.
Probably. That ball just kept that Kirk hit, man.
I don't have any problem with Romano last night.
That ball just kept flying.
That was crazy.
All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our topics where we started off with. You can text the show at 610-632-0975. Also, we may have taken another step closer for what John Kincade has been begging for in baseball.
Uh-oh.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose in Toronto. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private because your personal messages are yours. No one else can see them or hear them, not even WhatsApp. WhatsApp message privately with everyone. The Phils dropped in last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. They carried a 1-0 lead for most of the game thanks to a solo shot by Nick Castellanos in the second inning, but they could not get much else done at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound. He looked sharp for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team. He was not able to get out of the bottom of the 9th inning against the Blue Jays. The Phils wrap up that series against the Jays today, this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles will be back on the practice field for one final time today during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up this coming Tuesday, June 10th. One guy you should not expect to see out there or on the field anytime soon is Nakobe Dean, says Adam Schefter, who joined Kincade and Salciunas yesterday morning.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
We hope he's out there sooner than later. Fast recovery for Nakobe Dean there. This update was also brought to you by Wendy's with Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles. You choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia sports fan is about passion, loyalty, and authenticity, not hot takes and fake trades.
Unfiltered with Ricky.
in here.
I thank you for finding it in the bottom of the bag. It was delightful.
I had the chicken without the bun.
There you go. It's good work.
So it's good. It's delicious, and Wendy's doing a great job. Great breakfast. They have a lot of different options.
They really do, man. It's great. And we have 2 more $50 gift cards to give away throughout the course of the show today. We'll let you know when you can call in. But Wendy's Thursdays here on Kincade Salciunas. Absolutely love it. All right, so here's what our topic has been today. We'll check our text line here in a second at 610-632-0975. When it comes to how we evaluate a player, do we evaluate anything else other than just their talent? And I know that we're not GMs or coaches, so it's easier for a fan to just be like, all right, is that guy good or is that guy not good, right? There is a lot to it, right? I know we talk about the mentality of a player. Can they play in a certain city? I do believe is pretty damn important. And then we've also talked about stuff like what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson put on Instagram the other day when Vic Fangio said that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was just a salary cap move. And he said, I was a test dummy for them, so now they can be like my scheme work. Or was it my skill set that made it work? I had 0 issues. People had issues with me. So, yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse.
And I want to say something, too, because I've had a few people here on social media going, yeah, it didn't take long for CJ GJ to become a little bitch.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. CJ Gardner-Johnson left with complete class.
Yeah, remember the phone call he had with Howie he talked about on his live stream?
He left with complete class. I think, and I said it the other day, I think that Vic Fangio screwed this up. And I love Coach Fangio's old school style and everything, but I think Vic Fangio's answer was very flippant, very dismissive, and acted like, yeah, we're good. We don't need C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Well, in 2023, we learned they needed C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, that was something that they missed.
Hopefully, we don't need him this year.
Now that's funny.
But there's a couple people on my
and not for nothing, the guy they picked in the draft to replace CJ GJ, Drew Makuba, has the exact same measurables.
Yeah, they talk about the
CJ
comp.
GJ.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. Here's the differences, though, and we'll ask Andrew DeCecco to expound on this a little bit. Everything out of Texas with him, off the charts football IQ, and team leader. That's the difference.
And the safe version.
He's the version of. That's the key. He's the version of he is a guy.
Have that dog in him?
No,
right?
he does. No, he does. That's how he plays.
Right.
He plays like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but he was a defensive room leader, and he was a guy with a football IQ that is off the charts. C.J. Gardner-Johnson plays instinctively. Like, he's the guy. I'm instinctive.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's ways.
And so we're just trying to figure out how do you take the time to evaluate players more than just their talent? And again, John has told this a couple of times. There were people within the Eagles that were upset with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's actions on social media and at the parade with the Taylor Swift stuff. Was that the reason why he's not here? No. Could it be a part of the reason why he's not here? Yeah, it could be.
The Eagles have the most female vice presidents in the NFL, the most female executives in the NFL. And that whole thing with his going out of his way to be talking about the fact that Travis Kelce broke up with a fine, whatever,
thick he put it,
thick African-American woman for a skinny white woman and everything. He's completely inappropriate. And everybody who thinks that that's like, oh, it's just being funny. Oh my gosh, like people are so overreacting. That's completely inappropriate. And it's in no way is it funny, and in no way, first of all, and there are a lot of people around the Eagles that did not like that.
Well, and that might be why he
Super Bowl preparations going on, and that's going on.
And that may be why he puts in his post, I had 0 issues, people had issues with me.
Yeah, and they should have issues with that.
And maybe that's part of the reason.
That's like you're what are you, a 15-year-old boy on social media? Put your damn phone down and grow up.
But there's a threshold with this conversation, right? Like, you'll put up with a certain amount of off-the-field tactics as long as you're pretty good, right? If he was the, Tristan McCollum, no shot at him.
Right,
but if he's him, you're not putting up with that at all. CJ GJ, there's enough where there's an argument saying, I'll deal with that. Half the people didn't want to trade him. So, I think there's a threshold to it.
I just, from a talent standpoint, I think that's, and not just talent, but like also the the mentality standpoint of what he brings to this team is something that I think they're going to miss. Now, it's funny. You have people on social media calling him a bitch.
Yes.
Isn't it funny how, like, about 2 months ago, even though he was not coming back here, people celebrated CJ Gardner-Johnson for attacking Darius Slay. But now that it's sort of an attack back on the Eagles, now all of a sudden he's an enemy.
Yeah, he's a bitch, but the guy probably has belt to ass in his bio, which was coined by CJ.
Well, the thing is, he left the organization total class.
Yeah, he did.
And the first time he left, now he was a little pissed about the car thing, which he had a right to be.
Yeah.
He was a little pissed about that. But
yeah, people should just stop stealing cars. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Give us a text message, and then I want to give this report that may make Johnny happy.
Okay.
Yeah, this Trea Turner conversation, this little branch of it keeps popping off on the text line. John V checks in and says no one should make this move mid-season as far as moving Trea Turner off shortstop. It would be absurd. We don't have a shortstop right now that's even better, and Bryson Stott's already good at second base. Why change something up that's good there?
Well, that's something we talked about earlier this week. Do you worry about moving a player who's really good at second base to shortstop to try to help fix issues with Trea Turner? I still think his play translates. I do. Like, I know Mike the other day was saying that he does not believe Stott's play could translate to shortstop. It may not be at the elite level or close to elite level that he has at second. He's a very, very, very good defensive second baseman.
Everybody, it was brought up on the broadcast. I know that Kevin Stocker's talked about it and others have talked about it. Within the Phillies organization, there is nobody who doesn't believe he can play short.
Yeah.
There's nobody who doesn't believe that if they ask him to play short, that he can play short at the major league level.
Is he 10-time Gold Glove shortstop?
No, we don't know.
Maybe not.
We don't know.
But is he an effective short? I mean, we just saw it a couple of years ago.
Correct.
You know, the year they go to the World Series. Like, I mean, he played a fine shortstop.
He plays a fine shortstop, and when you have the worst shortstop in Major League Baseball since he's been here, I am confident in saying he's better.
Right.
Yes, that's safe.
All right, what else we got on the text line?
All right, we got somebody else checking in on this conversation as well. It's Alex in Warrington, and he sends a long one talking about the MLB and the NBA have two of the most powerful labor unions in America, and they dictate how the players will be used in all its genesis. From Drew Rosenhaus to Scott Boras, they're where all the coddling and demands originate from. And of course, they have to do that because of the grade of the owner. So everybody that has a hand in it in today's athlete and their mental stability.
Now, here's the thing. Trea Turner is here for 10 years.
He's here for 10 years. That has nothing to do with it.
So, like, I would understand that text if Trea Turner was entering his first big payday contract year,
or
right?
if he was in his free agent year.
Yeah,
absolutely, that would be true.
I would understand that.
It's not true in this situation at all.
He's here. Like he has the life changing money, right? Like it's
already done.
Yeah,
that deal's done. They have it. Like they can't. He's not dictating anything. They've got him under control till the next decade. They don't. So the agent isn't going, "You're not moving him." What are you going to do?
And that goes, so to the texter's point, there was the Rosenhaus, because Rosenhaus is Ranger Suarez's agent, right?
Scott Boras.
Scott Boras. Scott, but the other big time in that sport. There's people that have said maybe Boras does not want Ranger Suarez to go to the bullpen because that could impact his payday this upcoming offseason. Again, because he's now up for a payday. So, like, I don't think the texter's wrong in saying that.
Was Scott Boras going to bring any clients to the Phillies in good faith? Well, they really not answer their phone calls going forward.
But Trea Turner's not going anywhere.
Not Trea Turner, though. Some free agent down the line. And does Scott Boras say, hey, you probably don't want to go there because they're not good to their players?
No, that's ridiculous.
No, they're good to their players. You paid them $300+ million.
That is the end of the day.
They're good to the players.
I'm just being devil's advocate.
No, because they've already brought enough players here. So that's not true. So that talking point is stupid.
Yeah.
Like as far as he's already brought enough players here to know that.
They've lined Boris's pockets pretty well.
And more importantly, the Phillies are not going to say, yeah, we got a really good chance to win a World Series this year, but if we move Ranger to the bullpen, it might piss off Scott Boras. So you know what? We're not going to do it.
Right.
We don't want to win a World Series. We're going to worry about Scott Boras. I've heard this on Sports Talk Radio.
Yeah, you can't
This is something that people talk about on Sports Talk Radio that the general manager and the owner are not talking about. I assure you, they're not going, Let's not do what's best to win a World Series. Let's worry about Scott Boras on a back of the rotation starting pitcher.
But what they do talk about is whether or not the move of Trea Turner from short to second could affect him mentally. That is something they talk about.
No, they do.
Yeah.
This organization does. This one does.
This will make you happy. It came out around 11 o'clock last night, so I didn't see it till this morning.
I was asleep,
Yeah,
so tell me.
According to Fox Sports, MLB could introduce the not challenge system, but the automated ball strike system next season.
You're kidding me. Wait a minute. And you've checked the site.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, I'm literally on the website right now.
Okay, this is good.
Computer technology
How did I miss this
to
morning?
appeal ball strike calls could be in place for the 2026 regular season.
Whoa! To appeal.
No, and then they continue to saying that they could just go right to the ball strike system.
Oh my gosh! You talk about, first off, games, which right now have the speed of games has improved so much, which has helped TV ratings, which has helped attendance, which has helped popularity of the game. The average age of the average person watching on television dropped by 6 years in the last 2 years. This has helped. This would even help more. This speeds up games even more. That would be awesome. Automatic balls and strikes? Perfect. And you just have an umpire to make calls at the plate.
A quote from Rob Manfred, I think we've got to get over the hump in terms of either doing ABS or not doing it before you get into the complication of a separate kind of challenge.
Oh, this makes me happy. So no more.
That's from the commissioner himself.
So they're not going to tap the helmet.
Yes.
Good, because I don't want that nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that. That's great.
By the way, teams, when they did do the challenge system during spring training, because remember, they did do it in spring training, teams were successful 52% of the time when it came to the challenge. So the umpires, were 50%. They were 50% pretty much.
Wow.
But yeah, Rob Manfred's basically saying, if I'm going to do this,
we're just going to go.
We're just going to go for it.
Oh, that'd be great.
I know that would make you happy, Johnny.
Well, now we'd get strikes or strikes. You throw a strike, you throw a strike. None of this stuff. Well, it was close to being a strike, so this umpire likes to call it a strike. None of this crap. This umpire, this line judge says, we're gonna let him just.
I can't wait till the bot malfunctions the first time, and then they have to pause the game for 20 minutes.
It's a final pitch of the World Series.
They've already had that.
Error.
They've already had it in minor league baseball. They've had 2 times already where I've seen that, where they've talked about that thing. They call balls and strikes. They immediately go manual balls and strikes.
Yep.
No problem at all.
Asterisk in that one.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're asterisks the rest of the way from
This
here
is
on
awesome.
out. All right, coming up next,
you made me happy.
We have today's headlines with Brendan Gunn. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia sports fan is about passion, loyalty, and authenticity, not hot take.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Wendy's Thursday morning. Still two $50 gift cards to give away at some point. By the way, did you see the quote from Jordan Davis about how he's in the best shape of his life?
Did you see Jordan Davis?
Yes, the face. And he talked about his face. He looked himself in the mirror. He said, my face is getting too big. So he fell in love with the Peloton.
And he's become the Peloton guy. So I want you and
Jordan Davis to ride together.
You and Liv are Peloton friends.
Yes, we are.
You compete. So how about that?
Yeah. Look, I when my wife got that during COVID, that thing, because gyms were closed, right? Like, I know your life was different.
Yeah, our life was different.
Like, gyms were closed here. Like, that thing served its purpose. I still use it.
So I'm serious because I just don't even. It was just different.
Yeah.
So the gyms were literally closed.
Yeah.
Like boarded up, closed. You could not go in.
Eventually, they opened up, and it was a capacity of I don't know how many people.
Okay, so they were open because by the time I got back, beginning of the year of 21,
yeah,
they were open.
Sure,
but they weren't. So how long were they closed all year?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember
because there was I had to stop going to the one in Manioc.
That's
unbelievable. I had to stop going, and so. We got the Peloton. That thing, look.
You got the workout.
Yeah. I use it during the wintertime because I like running. You know, I like running more than anything else. So, but yeah, so good for Jordan Davis, fellow Peloton buddy.
That's great.
All right, it's time now for today's headlines with Brendan Gunn.
Today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Brought to us by who?
The one and only Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Guess what? Is it still a championship Thursday in the city of Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah,
yes, sure it is.
Every day it's a championship day.
It is. And I got to remind the people in the greater Philadelphia area that the winter sports actually play championship games in the month of June.
Yes,
I don't know if they forgot, if they believe it.
That is crazy.
Last night was game one of the Stanley Cup. Yesterday we had a conversation about legends. I want to ask you guys a question after this, but Connor McDavid set up Leon Draisaitl for the game-winning goal. 30 seconds left in the first overtime, only overtime. Here it is.
There's McDavid. Leon Draisaitl! The Oilers win game one!
And yesterday we had a conversation about legends. Can they be one without a championship in the city of Philadelphia? And we kind of agreed you could, but you had to be great on the field. What about all-time legend? Does Connor McDavid have to get a Stanley Cup in order to be considered one of the all-time greats?
Well, all-time greats, yeah. I mean,
because like Charles Barkley is a legendary basketball player, but not an all-time great.
Yeah, because he never won.
Right.
So, yeah, to be an all-time... Now, he would probably have to win multiple. I mean, we're talking all-time great, right? Like, you got to win championships.
Yeah, you got to win championships.
But that doesn't say if he doesn't win one that he won't go down as one of the best players ever play the sport.
See, how do you differentiate that? Like, to me...
What?
Like, you have to win one to be considered a Michael Jordan. You have to win one to be considered a Wayne Gretzky.
You have to win like five to be considered Michael Jordan.
All right, again, I'm gonna age check you. Dan Marino.
But I don't hear him brought up with the Peyton Manning, with the Tom Brady,
right? Because he didn't win.
Well, the only reason you don't hear it is because probably you're talking to a lot of people that didn't watch him. Dan Marino should be in any discussion of those quarterbacks,
right? As one of the best quarterbacks.
But his team wasn't. That's like, I mean, it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with his team.
But he gets forgotten in those conversations these days.
I think Brady is just eclipsed so much.
I mean, you have guys like Cam Scatterbo not knowing who Brett Favre is. So, like,
I mean,
these days, there's a lot of people that don't know what's going on back in the day. But
which is inexcusable.
But again, if we're talking an all-time great, like, to be considered an all-time great, like, you have to be able to do it individually, and you also have to be able to win.
Yeah, you got to win. Got to win something.
When's the next time we see the Flyers playing in mid-June?
Flyers will play
in the 30s.
Hopefully,
no. Flyers will. Flyers will play in. Flyers will play on Memorial Day before the Sixers. Flyers will play beyond Memorial Day before the Sixers. Not even a hesitation in my mind to say that.
Unless everybody stays healthy next year. What else we got?
Well, we got another championship starting here. The basketball finals also go on in mid-June for the people out there in Philadelphia. Tonight, game one, you can hear it right here on The Fanatic, as a matter of fact. The Oklahoma City Thunder are hosting the Indiana Pacers. Yesterday, our old friend Lou Will had DeMarcus Cousins on his podcast. And he said this Thunder team could be better than who? A recent dynasty. Take a listen.
It's absolutely the start of a dynasty. I think it's a dynasty that'll be even more powerful than what we saw with the Warriors. And the reason I say that, when the Warriors were in their heyday and they had everything rolling, they never had the assets that this Thunder team has.
Did they get those assets by tanking? But either way, can they be better than the Warriors? Is that fair to say?
I don't think so. The Western Conference, when the Thunder were winning, was ridiculous.
So you're saying too deep? It's just too deep?
No, like the
Western Conference
the Thunder,
is too deep?
when they were winning, they were also beating teams with ease. That was a deep Western Conference. I don't think the Western Conference is as scary as it usually is. Like, the 2 seed was the Rockets this past year.
Okay, so that would make it easier for them to be a dynasty.
No, I know, but if you were to ask me which team was more dynamic, I would go with the Thunder team that had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, younger Draymond, Kevin Durant. I do believe the Thunder team could be the next dynasty because of how young they are.
Yeah, they're so young, and they do have all those assets. And so
how did they get them?
By tanking.
Yeah, it's great.
It worked for them.
You guys are going to take the anomaly. Yes, the anomaly versus the rule. You guys got to take a statistics class.
It worked for them, baby.
Yeah, it's great.
That wasn't the argument, though. You said it doesn't work.
And it worked.
That's good.
Now they're the best team
for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It worked. And by the way, I will be reacting to Game 1 of the NBA Finals tomorrow on ESPN Radio from 3 to 7. Nice. Bang. Little update for you. So I'll be doing our show. Obviously, it's my real full-time job, and then I'll be doing ESPN Radio tomorrow afternoon with your old buddy.
Harry Douglas is not don't play that angle up heavy.
I work with John Kincade.
Don't play that angle up heavy.
I might not be doing
Are the lights too bright in there for you?
I might not be doing the shift if I mention your name.
Do you know that? I've heard you talk about it.
The lights were a little too bright in the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, see, I better shut this conversation down real quick.
Harry won't like that one.
All right, coming up next, Saquon Barkley spoke about his future. Could he be done soon? It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Thursday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies lose in a walk-off. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Erie Insurance, celebrating 100 years of protecting your family's most priceless moments. That now always Erie Insurance. ErieInsurance.com. That's ErieInsurance.com. The Phillies dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. The Phillies carried a lead 1-0 for most of the game thanks to a Nick Castellanos home run in the second inning, but they could not get much else done at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound. He looked sharp for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, though, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team because he could not keep them off the board in a tie game in the bottom of the 9th. The Phils look to wrap up that series against the Blue Jays this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles are going to be back on the practice field today for one final time during OTAs. Then next week, a mandatory minicamp opens up June 10th for the Birds. That's next on the agenda. One guy you should not expect to see out there or anytime soon on the field, though, is Nakobe Dean, says Adam Schefter, who joined the morning show yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
We do hope he gets well soon. Nakobe Dean had a great year last year. This update was also brought to you by Wendy's. With Wendy's 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The
Is Ray going to get all? You want me to get him the hand and stone? Because I can swing this.
he took exception to it. He said it's always sweater weather.
I think Ray wants a facial.
No, we can get him I get him whatever he needs. Hand and stone. Hand and stone. First of all, he's a dude, and the girls love Ray Dunn.
Dudes can get facials too.
Yes, and I want Ray
could.
Dunn looking his best, and especially if there is a little sweater going on. Sweater
he
action.
said he likes a sweater. He said it's always sweater weather.
Well, I want it taken off. I want that taken off. I want Ray looking his best.
His choice. He can do what he wants with his chest hair.
Then not the chest hair. I'm talking about back hair. I don't want the laser hair. I don't care about his chest. Does Ray have a chest? Ray's got a chest. He's got one.
Yes.
Do that?
Yeah, he's got a chest.
I don't want him messing around with that. If he wants to look robust, Ray looks like every dude from every Hallmark movie. Because when it comes to the holidays, they say, my wife's got the Hallmark movies on, and I'm like, in every one of the movies, Ray Dunn could either be the lead guy, the best friend, or the funny guy at the office that's just the fringe character. Ray could have another career.
He absolutely could.
I don't know what it is.
In between working with Mike Missanelli, doing play-by-play for ESPN.
Yeah, I don't know that he could do that.
I don't know how much time he's got, but
exactly.
he'd be good at it. Union? Yeah, man. Doop. All right, so yesterday there was a clip from, I'm sorry, Greenlight? Is that?
Chris Long.
Chris Long's podcast. It's called Greenlight.
By the way, great studios he's got for that.
Yeah, and he does a good job.
He does a really good job.
His podcast
I think
is
it's
really
one of the
good.
best athlete podcasts out there, period.
Yeah, with him and Bo Allen's a big part of it. So it's a good podcast with Chris Long. And so they had Saquon Barkley on recently. And we know Saquon Barkley just got on the Madden cover and had an incredible all-time season this past year, wins the Super Bowl. Everything surrounding Saquon Barkley, we know all about it because he plays for the Eagles. So they start talking about the future and what the future holds for a guy like Saquon Barkley, who just got the mini contract extension, not in terms of money, but years. But he's 28 years old, and we know that running backs age much faster than other players in the NFL. And so here was Saquon Barkley talking about his future.
I'll probably be one of those guys that it'll be out of nowhere. Like, I'll probably just wake up one day, whether it's next year or 2 years or 4 years, and just be like, yeah, it's over. I don't think I will ever lose that passion. The competitive nature is always going to be there, but I like probably my favorite player of all time is Barry Sanders. So probably similar to that. Maybe one day, it'll be out of nowhere. I'll probably be balling and just be like, yeah, call it quits.
So, look, I think what he says, it could be next year. I don't think he actually means that. But he could be a player that could just
walk away at a good time.
And you know what? When it comes to football, I don't blame any of them.
Not at all.
I love the stories of the offensive linemen who basically get that second contract and then they go, all right, I got paid. It's not that they dogged their way through their second contract. They got paid and they said, all right, that's it. And everybody's first thought is, the brain and the mind and concussions with all the CTE.
But I'm good now. Now I'm good.
But it's not just that. It's all the ailments that an NFL player has. We were hanging out with a former Eagle at Philly Sports Trips Eagles Autism Foundation charity event, and he was telling us that he's still in pain. He's been out of the league for over a decade now, right? Like pain, knees, ankles, right? These offensive linemen, these running backs are getting hit as much as they are. I still remember the Kylie Kelsey quote from the story that followed Jason Kelsey's final year, that documentary, which I thought was very well done, when she talked about, I want my husband to be able to roll around on the floor with the girls and then get back up without help.
And that's one of the things, is being able to get up off the floor.
Right.
Things like that. It's tough sometimes.
And at the age of 30-something, right? Think about that. I understand a guy that's in his third, we looked at James Bradbury last year as an 80-year-old man because he was 30 in the NFL, right? I still remember Derek Jeter when he retired. It was one of my favorite lines. Derek Jeter goes, for the first time in 10 years, I'm young again. Because he was 40. And in baseball, 40 is ancient.
You're old, right?
But when you're 40 in just everyday life, it's like, oh, wow, this guy
got the rest of your life going.
This guy's young.
Yes.
So if you're Saquon and you've had bad injuries, you're getting hit a lot, you can play at a high level and just decide that you're done. I don't blame any player for doing that.
Remember the third year, I think, look, after the next 2 years, really the money is sort of dummy money, even the way Howie structured it. So if he has where he balls out the next 2 years, he could easily walk away 2 years from now.
Yeah.
What if they win another Super Bowl? What if they play in 2 more Super Bowls, they win one, gets another ring?
Yeah. Goes out on top.
And he just says, I'm done.
So
I've done everything I want to do.
So that leads me to another question. Now, the supreme athletes that we are,
yeah.
Obviously we can all chime in on this, but I want other people to chime in as well at 610-632-0975. If you had the choice, would you be somebody, and again, easier said for us when we're not professional athletes, would you rather go out on top, or would you be somebody that would just keep going? And we've seen that with Miguel Cabrera. I was sad.
Jason Peters.
Oh, boy.
Like, that guy, probably should have retired 6 years earlier, but he kept going. Are you like Zach Wheeler? Zach Wheeler, I still remember talking to Jason Stark about this in spring training 2 years ago when he signed that extension. That may be it.
I think he's done.
I
think he's done when this contract extension is done. I think he's done.
Because there are some people that say, I don't want to keep on signing that 1-year contract and not being remembered for the dominant pitcher that I was. There was nothing more sad than watching the end of Roy Halladay, right? When his arm was just done and he literally just had dead arm. That was, we watched a Titan in a game just be done. It was sad.
There was nothing sadder for him either.
Right. No, clearly.
It affected him.
Yeah, it affected him, definitely.
And he couldn't deal with life after baseball.
So would you go out on top, or would you keep going?
I'd much rather leave early than late.
If I could be a Udonis Haslam and nobody saw my ass on the court, I would sit there and be a mentor for the rest of the players.
You would take he was probably making $2 million a year.
I would do that, but I would say don't put me in. If I'm Jason Peters getting hurt every time I sit out there just for a paycheck, at a certain point, swallow the pride and just call it a day, man.
I'll tell you, what's funny is he's one of the most popular players in Miami. Udonis Haslam. He's one of the most popular with Heat fans. He's one of the most popular guys. They love him.
His last season, Udonis Haslam.
They just love him.
Let's see. Let me pull up how many. I'll see how many minutes he played. His last season, he played in 7 games.
Okay.
I'm trying to see the exact total of the amount of minutes he played because it's not 71 minutes. He played 71 minutes in his final season, and he made $2.9 million.
Good for him.
That's the equivalent of a game and a half.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much. Exactly.
So you would love that.
So you would hang around.
I could do that because I'm there. I'm not there to play. It's the guys that can't let it go that you don't have it anymore. You're just not it anymore. Haslam probably knew I can't sniff playing anymore, but they want me here for an ulterior motive. They want me here to lead these guys along, get them to be a championship player. I could do that, but I'm not being a guy that hangs on too long.
Are you last person to leave a party? Or are you closer to being the first people to leave a party or the last people?
Closer to first.
Closer to first.
Yeah.
I go both. let me stop myself.
I've heard that. Then you're probably staying late at the party then. If that's the truth.
I'm one of the first. I'm one of the first to go.
Yeah, we're one of the first to go.
Yeah, I'm a master Irish goodbyer, but I'm also somebody, if I'm there with my friends' friends, I'll stay all night.
I got you. That's well, yeah, it depends on what the situation is. Now, there's another player. Rich Hill, right? He's 45 years old. He's pitching for the Royals minor league.
It's just dumb.
To me, that's sad. And that's I can't stop.
I can't hang it up. Yeah.
And I feel bad for him because I'm worried, all right, what is this guy's life going to be when he's not playing baseball anymore? Does he just love it that much? And that's why you see players turn to coaches. Was it Dusty Baker? That was I started managing again because my wife was getting sick of me around the house. There are that relationship of player and spouse when they're used to being apart half the year, and then all of a sudden they're together and spending time. They're all right, I'm sick of you already. That is there.
How could you guys sleep at night though? Could you sleep knowing you saw good football in you, like a Barry Sanders or a Saquon in this case?
Well, that's the thing.
Would you rather just use it all?
Calvin Johnson, he had plenty of good football left in him.
I could have told you Calvin Johnson, from watching his college career, and just knowing his mentality. Calvin Johnson never loved football that much. He was talented at it, but football was always a vehicle for what he wanted to do in life and how he wanted to be.
And that's fine.
Like he never was like, football, yeah. Calvin Johnson, it was a career, it was a job, it was a skill set.
But here's the thing, at least he played and played hard and played well.
Played hard. He was a great teammate.
Anthony Rendon has the exact same mentality.
But he's not a great teammate.
But he doesn't play.
No, he's not a great teammate.
Yeah.
Hey,
Seriously.
he's horrible. He would have made a great sixer.
All right, so if you guys want to chime in on that, you can at 610-632-0975. We'll check our text messages and calls coming up next. But also, we have early betting lines, Johnny, on every Eagles game this season. Maybe you'll put some bets in now.
Oh, my gosh.
They're not the favorites in every game, but it's pretty damn close. We'll get into that next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, host of the new afternoon show.
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic, as John continues to scare Gunner.
Dude, he just smacked his head on the counter.
Oh, did he really? Oh, his shoulder. That's awesome. Gotta deserve it. Poor guy in there.
Now, my friend Patsy Chestnut, who I will see Saturday at her granddaughter's wedding, would say, hand of the Lord is strong. Because when you, like, tease somebody like that, and you pull a prank on somebody, and then you, like, hit your shoulder or something, she'd say, hand of the Lord is strong.
I respect that.
Look forward to having a cocktail with Patsy on Saturday.
That sounds nice.
At the big shindig.
That sounds nice. All right, let's get a couple text messages in. Here, you know what? We actually have a call about the retirement discussion with Saquon. And by the way, I saw one of our comments on our YouTube, Andy B, dropping a boo-hoo. No one forced them to play football. They get paid very well to play a game.
Okay.
No, like, the point we're just trying to make is if a player retires early because they don't want to deal with they know what they signed up for, right? Like, you talk to any former, I've had this conversation with Brian Westbrook numerous times. He's like, I know what I signed up for. I know of the lasting issues that the sport could cause me in my life. So, like, they know it. They know what they're signing up for.
That doesn't mean you might not want to get out early.
Yeah, we're just saying, like, if Saquon Barkley retired at the age of 30, there's going to be some Eagles fans who are like, oh, my God, but he has so much left. And he could do whatever the hell he wants.
Absolutely.
So
why not?
That's all we're trying to say.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Ryan wants to chime in on this discussion.
How about a cop that makes that decision?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be...
Or a doctor.
I don't want to... Yes.
Or a doctor that says, I don't want the stress of doing this anymore.
Yeah. I know. Trust me. I've talked to people about it. What's up, Ryan? What do you got?
Well, what about a fireman, John?
Exactly. How about that?
How about that? It's good work.
That could be too.
Yeah, I think about it in terms of, like, these people, these athletes, they want to provide for their family, but they also want to be there to see their kids grow and cherish every moment. If you look at your own lives, John, your beautiful daughter just graduated college, and, like, you want to be there and experience those things and not be off working. Nick Castellanos and his son Liam have a great bond, and it kind of showcases what I want to point out. Like, you want to be there for your kids, and you want to see them grow into, like, beautiful human beings. So
now,
if they want to leave and be with their families, no problem.
Ryan, as a fireman, I mean, do you think about that? I mean, I know with your, like, education and everything, you think about that. Like, you would
absolutely.
You put yourself in danger at work.
Yeah,
a little different danger than Saquon, but it's the same type of thing.
Yeah, when I have to go to work and I'm fortunate enough to, like, be able to FaceTime with my beautiful daughter before she goes to school, that's all I want to do. I just want to kind of be there and enjoy the moment with her and, like, let her know that Dad loves her and he's excited for what she's going to be doing for the rest of her life, even just for that day.
Yeah,
so
that's the way it
if
works.
These professional athletes want to leave and enjoy being a parent, like, I don't think anyone should ever blame them.
I think it's awesome.
No, absolutely.
Good job,
and
cuz.
thanks for the call, Ryan. We appreciate it, man. And yeah, in case somebody's just tuning in, because I saw somebody on YouTube, they were wondering if we're talking about the Lions offensive lineman, Ragnar.
Well, that is another one, yeah?
That's another one. But Saquon was on Chris Long's podcast, and he talked about how he could retire out of nowhere, and he said maybe in the next year or so. So that's what led to this conversation. All right, give us a text message, and then I'll go through these early lines for the Eagles. I'm curious to see if you guys can guess the amount of games and which games they're not the favorites.
Are these Bet Online or one of them from, or are they Westgate?
I'm not sure.
Is it the Westgate? Because one of the things, we're not going this summer to Vegas, and we usually do.
Okay.
But I always would love to go. I would always take a cab trip over to Westgate and would go and would get a ticket for I would put $5 on every Eagles game.
That's cool.
Because I could get a ticket on every game on the individual line. So I would do that and put them all in an envelope just to do it. Because the lines would be out for every
I'm not sure where this came from.
Okay.
What do we got on the text line?
Got somebody checking in, say, call me Joe Flacco. I'm playing all day until I can't anymore. Then we got Gene in Southwest Florida checking in, saying the list of athletes that hung on too long is sad. Steve Carlton, Joe Montana. And now we're seeing it with Aaron Rodgers. You got to go out on top.
Well, and that's the thing. Guys are making their own decisions. It's not that I feel bad for them. It's just it's sad to watch. Like, it's sad to see a player. When I bought a ticket to go see the Phillies play the Tigers, and this is before this year's Tigers when they're good, the bad Tigers, because I wanted to see Miggy. Right, one more. It was his final year when he was doing the retirement tour and he was getting all the gifts. He hit a ground ball to short, and my man didn't even put the bat down. Like, he didn't even run the first base, and I'm just like,
did it hurt you to see that?
Yeah, because I'm a big baseball fan, so I loved watching Miggy when he was with the Marlins, and I loved watching him when he was first traded over to the Tigers with Dontrell, right? Like, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh man, he's done. He's really done.
Like now I'll offend half the sports writers in Philadelphia with this. I saw Bruce Springsteen summer of '84, Born in the USA tour.
Yeah,
he was freaking incredible. And he's an incredible performer, so I'm not taking any shots.
Yeah.
I don't need to see
any more
AARP version of Bruce Springsteen.
He's still good.
And I don't need to see
people do still love his show.
No, I don't need to see it for the 50th time or whatever. I don't need to see that. I don't need that memory. The Rolling Stones.
But it's not for you. I had never seen him until 2 years.
Okay, that's different.
And
you know what, though?
Yeah.
I feel bad for you that's what you see compared to what you see. It's like if you were to go see the Rolling Stones today, to seeing the Rolling Stones played Georgia Tech Stadium down Atlanta, like late, like 2018, 2019. And I had to go with clients. And it was a big thing. And I hosted a party. People had listeners and everything. I hosted a party. I saw the Stones at JFK.
Yeah.
I saw the Stones. And I said to myself, what am I watching?
But I'll still compare that to LeBron. It's not LeBron 07 that I saw last year, but it's still LeBron James I'm watching.
No, LeBron James is still a top 25.
He's still playing at a high
He's still
level.
a top 25 player in the NBA.
Listen, Mick Jagger's still hitting the moves. His hips
He's
out
still
of place,
dancing
but-
still.
It looks like a bunch of old women on stage.
All right.
Looks like a bunch of old women. They look like old women. Look like your grandma.
That's not
It looks
right.
like Nana.
That's
They
not
do.
right.
They,
I give him a
they
ton of
don't
credit
look
for doing it,
No,
man.
I give them a lot of credit for still performing, but they look like
an
Nana
old
on
woman.
stage.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Paul McCartney looks like someone's Nana.
Got the moves like Jagger.
No, they don't.
All right.
They got the moves like, I've fallen and I can't get up.
How many games do you think the Eagles are not the favorite in? Take a quick guess. And I'll tell you which one's next.
4.
All right. Gunner?
6.
All right. Not the favorite. You say 4. Gunner says 6. YouTube chime in if you want. And I'll see if anyone gets it right. And we'll go through this coming up next. We'll reset the show. We'll talk about more about this conversation about how we evaluate athletes other than just talent. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Romano blows it against his former team. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Wendy's. With Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. The Phillies dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. Phils carried a 1-0 lead for most of the game thanks to a solo home run from Nick Castellanos in the second inning, but they could not get much more else done at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound, though. He looked sharp again for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team. He was not able to keep the Blue Jays off the board in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Jays walked it off. Phils and Blue Jays wrap it up this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo is on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. The Eagles are going to be on the practice field one final time today during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up this coming Tuesday, June the 10th. One guy you shouldn't expect to see out there or anytime soon on the field is Nakobe Dean, says Adam Schefter, who joined the morning show yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
Well, we hope his guess is a little wrong, but we'll see. Adam Schefter usually knows what he's talking about. We just want to see Nakobe Dean out there sooner than later. This update was also brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yo, Philly, it's Bill Colarulo, host of the new afternoon show, Unfiltered with Rick.
8:55 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so you said 4. Gunner said 6. We have one correct answer on our YouTube feed. Ed Wright. Good job with the last name. You were right. 2 games the Eagles are not favored in.
Only 2?
Only 2 games. Would you guys like to guess what those 2 games are?
At Kansas City, at Buffalo.
You are correct in both, and they are both 1.5. So it's not even like the Chiefs are 4-point favorites or Buffalo's 4-point favorites. So we know the Dallas game -7. That came out the day the schedule was released, or the day that it was announced that was the first game. Chiefs plus 1.5. Rams, Eagles are favored by 4.5. Tampa just 2.5. And that's a team. That's a team that's given the Eagles a lot of problems over the years.
I'm shocked they're favored at Green Bay.
It's close. I'll get there. Denver, 4.5 at home.
That's low for me. I'm shocked at that.
It is pretty low. Giants in New York,
6.5?
7.
Okay.
Minnesota on the road.
3.5.
3.
Okay.
Home versus the Giants. So we had 7 on the road.
8.5.
I take a guess.
9.5?
10.5.
Okay.
Jeez.
It's like the old adage of, you get 3 more points at home.
By the way, Giants will be better than that because they're playing them early in the year. They'll be better than that.
They're then going on the bye, and then the Eagles head to Green Bay.
This is one I'm shocked. How about this? I'll make a bold prediction. I don't think the Eagles will be favored in that game.
When we get there?
Nope.
Okay. You already said that they're going to lose that game.
I do not think the Eagles will be favored in that game.
Packers are starting 8-0 or whatever
That's
that
right.
guy said.
Ralph Bacchiano out of 8-0. They have the Eagles favored by 1.5.
Okay, yeah, that game
on the road.
Yeah.
So versus Detroit, Philadelphia. You guys have a guess?
2.5.
I'm right there with them, 2.5.
3.5. You guys
Okay.
are close. At Dallas.
3.
At Dallas, 4.
4.5.
Wow.
Home versus Chicago. That's the Friday, Black Friday
game. 4.
It's got to be 6, right?
7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Gunner, you're doing good there.
You're doing well.
At the greatest quarterback ever, according to anybody that covers the NFL, the Chargers and Justin Herbert.
Plus 3.
No, remember, it's only Chiefs and Buffalo.
Oh no, I'm sorry, -3.
Gunner?
-5?
2.5. So
2.5?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, I thought
they
that
love Justin Herbert.
They love
man.
Justin
Everybody
Herbert.
loves Justin Herbert.
That's the proactive game of the week.
All right, home against the Raiders.
8.5.
I'll go 6.5.
10.5.
10.5.
All right, at Washington.
1.5.
Yes,
Eagles.
right on the dot. Not even going to waste time. Then the Buffalo plus 1.5, and then home against Washington to end the season.
4.
At home, I'll say 3. I'll say they get the 3.
It's the 3-point swing, 4.5.
4.5.
Yep.
There you go. I think some of those games will change during the course of the year.
Oh, yeah,
We don't know
all
what they'll
this,
be.
all this stuff.
I'm telling you right now, I've made the call. I made the prediction before that the last Washington game will mean nothing. Is going to mean nothing.
Right.
I'm going to make the call that that Buffalo game that we're all built up for is going to mean nothing for Buffalo. It's going to mean nothing for the Bills.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that.
I think the Bills are going to be home free, and the Bills may be resting players.
Locked up for the 1 seed over Baltimore,
I told you
Kansas
already.
City.
Here's why. Buffalo has the 3rd easiest schedule in the NFL. 4 of the last 8 years, the top seed in the AFC has been locked up after week 16 with 2 weeks to play.
Yeah, but they won't.
So they're not going to play guys for 3 straight
they
weeks?
won't rest starters.
But when you don't have to play for something, it's up here. When you've already got something locked up, it's not the same.
Can you tangibly make a line like that, though?
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now is that I don't think the game. I'm telling you when the game starts, I think Buffalo's going to already have it locked up. I don't think Buffalo's going to be playing for anything that game.
Okay.
I think the Eagles will still be playing for something.
Yes, I think
because the NFC I think is going to be
tough.
The NFC is going to be a dogfight.
You're listening to 97.5
Michael
The Fanatic,
Vick will like that.
WPN. Oh my God.
Oh, come on.
WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities.
Gutter, it's always a good laugh.
My God.
I've used that with Mike before, so I can get away with that.
I'm sure he loved it.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
He didn't enjoy it.
I'm sure he was thrilled to hear that.
He didn't enjoy it.
All right, let's. You want 7?
Yes.
All right, caller 7, 610-632-0975. Caller number 7 will win our third of our 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards. Wendy's breakfast 2 for $3 biggie bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. Caller 7 will get the $50 gift card, 610-632-0975. All right, what do we have on the text line? Any of our topics so far this morning, Gunner?
All right, we got Zach in Florida checking in saying, so you're telling me that on top of needing at least 2 bullpen arms, a right-handed bat, help in the outfield, we now have the worst shortstop in baseball, and we have to worry about his mental, fragile mind. Is this team baseball or not?
Look, I'm telling you, that's the truth. Is it team baseball or not? That's the same question.
There's a lot that they're going to have to address, and the Stott Turner things in-house, at least. But yes, to Ryan's point, you do have to worry about all those things like bullpen arms and a right-handed bat and an outfielder. Hopefully the right-handed bat could also be the outfielder.
Yes, exactly.
Hopefully you can, kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that one.
I like getting 2 birds stoned at once.
Yes.
Can I share one thing? Just something I heard yesterday. There was a fringe media personality here in Philadelphia. I was just going to say someone with some ties fringely to the media personality.
Okay.
That was pushing something on the media that the Phillies are really in on Aroldis Chapman. They're really, really close on Aroldis Chapman. It was going around the internet yesterday. From what I understand, so I started poking around yesterday. And from what I understand, the whole domestic abuse history of Aroldis Chapman might tell the Phillies that they're not interested in Aroldis Chapman. So just saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Just saying because he's a name we're going to be kicking around.
Oh, that's because the Red Sox have fallen apart.
They're not really the domestic violence incident, one that they're probably going to steer away from unless the price was really, really cheap. Because I was hearing the Phillies are knee-deep in Aroldis Chapman.
See, I don't get that. You either have a principle or you don't. Like it doesn't matter
That's
how,
what I say.
how cheap
No,
the
it would
price
have to
is.
be. It would have to be something that like he's left out at the curb, and you like it's Delco trash day in Broomall when somebody would leave somebody out at the curb, and it'd be like, wow, I'm gonna go grab it. No, that'd be the only way something would ever happen.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. Yes, I'm gonna definitely keep an eye on. All right. What else we got on the text line?
We got no name on this one, but he says, it's a job. I have a title for a job I do. If my boss says, hey, we need you to do this, it'll really help the company. I can't say no. I won't say no. I don't like it. I have to do it. And I don't make $300 million. You got to figure it out, Trea Turner. If they ask you to play second base, outfield, make it happen.
Yeah, look, but here's the thing, and I'm curious. Maybe one day we'll get a story. Maybe you can do some digging. Right. Do we know if the Phillies have told Trea Turner that we want you to play second? Like, we don't know.
No, we don't know that.
That conversation has even happened.
But from their commentary,
correct.
It sounds as if, from stuff that we have on the record, it sounds as if
maybe they did some poking around,
and he doesn't like it.
Maybe, yeah.
So we can surmise that, but no.
But we don't have. There's no story yet from like a Matt Gelb, that has put out a report. Hey, sources have said they asked Trea Turner.
No, we do not have that. No. We have
and
nothing
he refused.
Like that. No, I don't believe that at all, and I'm not sure that he would refuse.
That's why I always try to be as fair as possible when we have these conversations. Like when a text comes, man, if my boss tells me to do something, I do it. But if they have not told him to do it yet, then that's.
Well, if they're pussyfooting around doing it,
then you could rip the organization before Trea Turner.
Yeah, but that tells me that they must know that that's what his reaction's going to be.
Yeah, that could be.
And they're worried about him getting into his, he going to be nanny boo-boo sucking his thumb, rocking back and forth in the corner with his binky.
Yeah.
And they're not going to like that.
Are you willing to sacrifice, though, what he's doing at the plate for that? Like, this is the thing I keep coming back to.
This is where John keeps on going. We don't know if it would.
We don't know.
Affect him offensively.
I'm not going to make. You can't be a CEO of a company. You can't be the head of your family. You can't be anything in life if you're going to sit there and go, well, I can't do that because something bad might happen. You have to make, especially when things are not going right, you got to make change.
But it's only not going right on one half of the game, and probably the half that you put less on him anyway. If you came into the season, and someone told you Trea Turner has the most hits in the National League on June 5th, you're taking that with his 6-7 errors that he has already.
Yeah, I think I saw Jeff Kerr tweet out yesterday, they didn't sign Trea Turner to play shortstop. They signed him for his bat.
That's incredible. I'm bummed. I'm bummed at Jeff tweeting that.
I don't think he's wrong in that.
No, but he is wrong at that. It's a shortstop. If you're telling me a left fielder, a shortstop's the most important defensive position next to catcher.
Right, but what I'm saying is they may not be.
They did sign him to be a catcher.
What I'm saying is they may not be so quick to make the change because they signed him more so for his bat than his glove.
I think that's ridiculous.
You can have that.
I really do.
You can have that opinion.
He's signed to be a shortstop. He was signed to be. That's part of the reason it got to $300 million.
Yeah,
is because he's a shortstop, and you can't just say. Doesn't matter if you have a good shortstop defensively.
No, that I agree with you. So you need to have a good defensive shortstop. Absolutely,
you got to have that. I mean, they can't just throw their hands, and you can't have another year of this. If they're gonna wimp out and just say we can't, don't touch his feelings, then he better spend his entire offseason working on finding a position he can feel.
Unless here's the other thing. Maybe they do see something in Stott where they don't feel comfortable playing him at short.
I have no idea why. That would not make.
They're the ones that are.
You see, that would make
not for nothing. Stott's also doing great in the leadoff spot. Now you're going to say, "Hey, go switch over and put your mental on the field." Like you're killing two guys at the top of your order.
Maybe it's overthinking it. Maybe they do know
I don't
something.
think Stott's doing great at leadoff. He's doing well. He's doing well.
The team has done better since he got to the leadoff spot, which could also be Schwarber being in the cleanup spot.
I think they're 23-13 with him at leadoff.
Yeah,
which is pretty good.
All right, coming up next. At what point does someone realize that they keep giving people something that no one wants? That's you guys on the air every day. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yo, Philly, it's Bill Colarulo, host of the new afternoon show, Unfiltered with Ricky.
NBA All-Star game has become a circus. Like,
it's because the star players don't want to like.
They don't want to play defense
They don't
in
want
it
to play
at all.
defense.
And
They don't want to show up for the fringe events.
Right.
It's a totally different era.
So
am I getting paid?
And former NBA players have ripped the current NBA players, saying, "Look, there's a lot of people that come to watch this game that don't really watch much basketball. It's not to the extent of the Super Bowl at all, but that there's people that watch the Super Bowl but won't watch a game of football the rest of the season, right? There will be a person that goes, all right, I watch the Sixers and whoever they're playing, but this is my chance to watch other national players, maybe get an idea of who these guys are." And they just go through the motions, and former NBA players have called them out for it. They've called them out for, like LeBron, for not participating in the slam dunk contest, all that kind of stuff. And so now he's looking for another new way to try to spruce up the NBA All-Star game with the U.S. versus the world. I don't totally hate the idea.
They're trying to copy the NHL.
That's exactly. But again, it's going to get back to
the NHL shut down.
Not real basketball.
Right.
And, what if the world does not have X amount of All-Stars? Or what if the Team USA doesn't have X amount of All-Stars? You're going to force a guy on the All-Star roster to try to have the correct amount of players.
What if Embiid doesn't know who he wants to play for?
Yeah, does he want to play for USA or the world? I'm not entirely sure.
I'm willing to sign a document.
I don't know.
Whoever tells me I can sign a document for you.
I don't know why we can't just go back to the way it was, where it was East versus West, and
How about actually caring about your sport?
They wore their jerseys, and that's the big one. Here's the one thing: Adam Silver, in defense of Adam Silver, until the players actually try, he can come up with any. He could have their water on the court, right? He could do slam ball. It won't matter if the players that are playing don't care.
No, it's the game. It's the whole weekend. I don't need to see the guy serving up burgers at the local McDonald's in the dunk contest. I don't need to see that either. And then right after, all the stars, I'm going to be there next year. I'm going to be there next year. Then it rolls around, and it's just it's the guy doing the fries this year.
But he let, at a certain point, Adam Silver took his eyes off the ball and here LeBron, here stars, you run the league. And he just said, do what you want. And he lost control of his sport. And the public has said, screw you.
Well, and that's the thing.
They lost their way. And he can't yank the wheel back.
I don't know how you fix that other than demands for players to play X amount of games. But
you know what you do? You get your focus back. You get your focus back on what do we, there is a time where, let's say you're Wendy's.
Yeah.
Wendy's has thankfully not had to do this. Wendy's has not gotten into the fried chicken business to try to compete with KFC.
They have chicken sandwiches, though.
No, they do. But
they're
they don't
delicious.
try, but they don't try.
They didn't join that chicken sandwich war.
Correct.
They're not trying to compete going, we're going to compete with Popeyes and KFC.
Yeah.
Wendy's stays in their lane, does what they're best, and says, we're going to do what we do to serve our client base.
We're going to give you this Dave single, baby.
And that's what we're going to do.
Baconator.
We're going to understand our clients. The NBA lost their way, and the NBA lost their way in a lot of ways.
And the crazy thing is, it wasn't even 10 years ago when the NBA
was on the rise so much.
Skyrocketing.
No, it was skyrocketing. It was. Because
and it wasn't just here, in case people were wondering, it wasn't just because the Sixers were getting good. It was the entire product was skyrocketing.
In true. And this falls, and we do not do politics.
No, we don't.
Any side of the spectrum you fall on. So take this message any way it is. People do not go to sporting events to be lectured about sports. And you got coaches that literally spend their scrums lecturing about politics, lecturing about social issues, they don't want to hear it. That's not what the fans are there for. They're not there for that. They're there for the sport. They're there to be entertained. Entertain them. And by the way, the NFL wandered this way for a little while, and then Roger Goodell yanked the wheel back and got the sport back on track, and they said, no, we're not doing this, and went back. You got to get it back on track.
NBA players also have to play. The load management.
You can't do that, right? But you let them. They're letting them do it. They're letting them do it.
Because there's nights where it's the game that's on TNT and the best player's not playing, right? And it's not because of injury. It's load management. And that has been something that in this league, like I understand sports science. I understand that doctors are trying to find every way to keep their players healthy and at the best ability come playoff time because the sport has told you that's all that matters, right?
Right.
But still, like if you're trying to gain an audience, like it's not like it's playoff time people are clamoring to watch.
No.
Right? Like it's either you've been a part of it all season long or nothing.
I love the playoff product.
Yeah, it's great.
The NBA playoff product to me, like you were saying.
But I watch all season long. You know
watch
what I mean?
more in the regular season than I do.
Yeah.
The Knicks, Indiana, was fun
great.
to watch.
It was theater.
I hated watching the Knicks last year. I thought the Knicks style of basketball a year ago sucked. It was like,
you're a pro defense guy.
It was like, but I do like defense.
You
but
are
it was
defense wins championships
But
guy.
it was so freaking boring. Like watching the Knicks play 2 years ago bored the hell out of me. I loved that Knicks Indiana series.
It was great.
It was entertaining.
It's great.
I was entertained.
The issue is Adam Silver on that same podcast show or whatnot on Fox Sports 1 also spoke out of the other side of his mouth. He's kind of tone deaf on it. He says, well, the NFL, people will watch if it's the Steelers, Pittsburgh, a small market, versus Seattle, a small market. Why should people care about this? People are watching the NFL regardless.
Yeah,
like the
watching
NBA, you have to give them a reason to watch.
And two, I love the fact that players today, coaches today, team owners today have gotten socially active. I think it's awesome. Jeffrey Lurie attracts players because of his being socially active.
Yeah.
But when you come to a game, you're coming for football. You're coming to keep it in the lane, and then when you have your own time, be as socially active as you want to be.
Yeah, you're not saying not to express your
have as big a
opinions
voice,
or your
have
views,
as big
your
a voice as
beliefs.
you want to have. But when it's post game or whatever, entertain the people, make it fun, and be welcoming to everybody.
All right, coming up,
Big Ten.
Coming up next, we'll check some text messages. Also, we touched on it earlier. And I know you guys will join in as well. Just need to vent about something with the Phillies for a few minutes.
Uh-oh.
It's a rant about the here and now. It's a rant about the last 10 years. It's a rant about this franchise's history. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies drop a close one. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped last night's game to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 2-1. The Phils carried a 1-0 lead most of the game thanks to a solo home run by Nick Castellanos in the second inning, but they could not get much else going at the plate the rest of the night. Mick Abel got the start on the mound. He looked sharp for the most part. He went 5 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Ultimately, though, it was Jordan Romano who got tagged with the loss against his former team. He let the Blue Jays off the hook in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they walked it off. The Phils and the Blue Jays wrap up their series this afternoon. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 3:07. And the Eagles are going to be back on the practice field today for one final time during OTAs. Next on the agenda for the Birds is mandatory minicamp, which opens up this coming Tuesday, June 10th. One guy you shouldn't expect to see out there or anytime soon on the field is Nakobe Dean, says Adam Schefter, who joined the morning show yesterday.
My guess is he'd start the season on PUP, and he'd be out the first 5-6 games of the year minimum until they could start to bring him back. That's my guess.
We do hope to see him sooner than later on the field. Nakobe Dean had a great season last year. This update was also brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles. You choose the pair you want at participating U.S. Wendy's. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, host of the...
Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, let's do this because we still have the one $50 Wendy's gift card to give away. But for now, caller 2 at 610-632-0975 will get the pair of tickets to see comedian Kumail Nanjiani June 20th at the Excite Center. Tickets for all upcoming events at parkscasino.com. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino, this is how you win. So caller 2 at 610-632-0975 will get a pair of tickets to see Kumail Nanjiani. We have one more pair of tickets to give away tomorrow to the show on June 20th.
Can I recheck on one thing, Brendan Gunn, that I want to check?
What's up?
Stotts on base percentage. It's 316.
Yeah, it's got to go up.
It's got to go up. I'm more so talking about the traditional leadoff where he's sitting, seeing pitches, letting the guys behind him see pitches.
Yeah, but traditional leadoff hitters have a much better on-base percentage than that.
So, and Bryson Stotts,
I got to see a lot better than that.
Bryson Stotts, one of these guys where we have to start asking the question, was 2023 the year where he hit 280? Was that more of the outlier?
The anomaly?
Nobody's saying that he's a bad baseball player, but remember, there were people that were saying, oh, this guy's a future Silver Slugger. This guy's a future batting average leader in Major League Baseball. I don't know if we're ever going to get that. You know, I haven't really seen it the last year and a half.
I don't know that we will either.
I think he's a good ball player, and his fielding being so exceptional. But like, is he a leadoff hitter? I don't know. They've been winning since he's gone up there. We had that same conversation with Schwarber. Though,
I don't believe that that's the. I don't think that that's the thing. That there's a necessarily a correlation.
Right. I agree.
But we'll see.
Like, I never really bought the. Well, all they do is win when Schwarber's in the leadoff.
Yeah, well, I didn't either.
But yeah,
I just think you're better off with Turner in 2, Harper 3, Schwarber 4, because you get to protect Turner, you get to protect Bryce a little bit.
Yeah. Now, again, Stott's been in a tremendous slump right now. He ended the month of April hitting .297 and had an on base of .374. He's now down to .249 and a .316. So. They've played 3 games in June. So over the course of May, his batting average dropped from .297 to .258.
Oof.
And his on base dropped from .374 to .321.
Yeah, and before that, he was making contact like 88% of the time, Jason Stark said on this station. Yeah. So he was doing solid. He's fallen off a cliff a little bit.
He had a rough month of May.
That's bad.
And so far in June, he's 1 for 11. So hopefully that turns around soon, because he's another guy that's important. That's why before the season started, when we were talking about, the ceilings of some of the individual players, remember we had that conversation? Like, I think Alec Boehm has hit his ceiling. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? Like, I think he's a guy that hits for average, but you might be able to find better players. Brandon Marsh, I think, hit his ceiling a long time ago. Bryson Stott was kind of the one guy we were like, all right, he could probably do better than what we saw last year. And he was doing it through the first month of the season, and now it's kind of come back down again. So hopefully he has another hot streak at some point. All right, give us a text message at 610-632-0975, and then I just want to rant about something that I'm sure you guys will all agree with.
All right, we got Natalie P. checking in saying the Phillies have bigger issues to worry about than Trea Turner's lack thereof defense. They shouldn't even have an issue with this if they had another right-handed power bat in the lineup where they were putting up runs every single day, or an everyday center fielder, or a better bullpen. Trea Turner's issues would be way down on the list.
Shout out to you, Natalie P. The right-handed power bat is something that I don't understand how this offseason they didn't address it. Like, all right, so the bullpen conversation, right? Like, we wanted one of Hoffman or Estevez.
I wanted one to stay.
So
whichever one.
If I'm Dave Dombrowski, right, and I'm sitting down with you, and you ask me, like, yo, what the hell did you do with the bullpen? Well, John, we think highly of Jordan Romano. We thought Kirkering would take another step forward this year.
Okay.
And he's cheap, and so we didn't want to spend the money that we had to pay for Hoffman or Estevez. Like, that is what I imagine would be his answer.
But you let both of them go?
I'm just saying, that's what I would imagine.
Now, here's what Jeff Hoffman said. Did you hear what Jeff Hoffman said?
No.
Jeff Hoffman was quoted. It was a lot of negotiating and not negotiating and down periods and then getting back into it with a different team. Every step of the way, they were pretty light. It was pretty clear early on that they weren't going to be in the right type of competitive market that we were looking for. So the Phillies literally were like, nah, we're good. We're good.
Maybe they're worried about the medical thing, which, remember, who was the team that originally was going to sign him, and then they bailed out?
And the thing is, I have no problem with that.
Like, that may have been the issue.
Thing is, I've got no problem with that. Then don't let Estevez walk.
Yeah. So now going back to this like fake Dombrowski conversation. If I asked Dave Dombrowski, hey, what did you do to address the right-handed pop bat that you missed last year? He literally can't give an answer.
No.
Because Max Kepler was the addition. He bats left-handed. Like, that's the weird... Like, bullpen, even though I disagreed with their decisions, I can imagine there's an explanation. Not addressing the right-handed side of the plate, there's literally no explanation that I think he could give me.
Carlos Estevez, this year.
Yeah, he's dominant.
Who you let walk? He's dominant.
Yeah.
He's got 26 innings pitched. He's got 17 saves. He's got a 1.71 ERA.
Yeah, he's been dominant.
See, to me, that's the guy that you shouldn't have let walk away. You gave up Klassen in that, and I know he was a single-A pitcher, but he's already pitched in the big leagues, and he had some prospects.
You traded for him,
because he wouldn't have pitched here till he was 28. because they would have said he's too young.
That's true. By the way,
Estevez a strikeout an inning.
Yeah. Thanks to Gunnar. Orioles were the team that backed out of Hoffman. All right, so real quick, this is a rant that stands the test of time, and you guys will all agree.
All right.
And it's just after another botched outfield play by Brandon Marsh last night.
God, he's terrible.
How in the world?
Terrible.
How in the world, John? In how long have the Phillies been playing? 140 years?
1883.
How in 142 years? That's the math, right? Can the Phillies just not develop outfielders, or scout outfielders? It's the strangest thing to me. Obviously, they have signed tremendous outfielders, Bryce Harper being one of them. They did a good job in the Rule 5 draft back in the day with Shane Victorino. Pat Burrell, they originally drafted as an infielder. They moved him to left field. But, man, if you think about it, these outfielders that they have trotted out there over the years, even now, during a championship window that is open, Brandon Marsh, I like Rojas, but there's better players than Johan Rojas.
Yes.
Max Kepler, Austin Hayes last year, David Dahl at points last year. They can't find or develop an outfielder for their lives. And it's been like this. It's not just this team. It's the 2010s. It's the 2000s. It's the 90s. It's before that. It's unbelievable. And corner outfielders, there are a dime a dozen. There's a million of them out there.
Here's the thing, do they have a philosophy that says, first of all, you should be able to develop them. But do they have a philosophy in their head that says, they are a dime a dozen, we can get them from other people, so focus on developing and drafting other positions?
Yeah, but you could do that with any position, right? We could just pick up this guy. It's like the Yankees. They could just sign whoever they want.
Yeah,
the Dodgers, they could sign whoever they want.
Corner outfielders, I think, would be, if you said, wow, we need a corner outfielder, I would think you would feel the least stressed if you were a general manager.
I guess.
You can find an outfielder. You can go find an outfielder.
Yeah, but you know what? They don't. There have been outfielders available.
But they won't pay.
That they just don't get.
Pay, but they won't pay.
And their newest obsession, which freaking pisses me off, is this platoon thing. We would rather have 4 outfielders than 3 starters. We would rather have a 4th and 5th option. Obviously, you need outfielders to be a part of the team, right? You need bench guys. You need guys that can go in for defensive replacement. But instead of going out after a guy like Teoscar Hernandez a few years ago, no, they wanted platoon players. Why? Explain that to me. Why not just get the better player? The guy that can play every single day, that you can pencil in a lineup. Instead, you obsess over platoon players. I don't get it. They lucked out with Jason Worth. They had Bobby Abreu back in the day.
And the weird is that they've changed people in the front office.
Yes.
But the philosophy
It's the weirdest thing with this baseball team. It's outfield. Now, look, other positions. Catcher, they hit home runs all the time with catchers. Real Muto, Chooch, Dalton, Lieberthal. That's the last 30 years of Phillies baseball. You've had 4 go-to catchers. They've been fine there. But this outfield thing is the strange. And center field? How many teams now have their center fielder as one of their better players? And center field here is one of their worst areas.
Yeah, who's an outfielder you can think of besides Marlon Byrd, and he was all right, I guess, that came up drafted through the Phillies. Don Brown sucked.
Because Bobby wasn't even drafted by the Phillies.
No.
They eventually acquired him. It's the weirdest thing, man. This Phillies team and their history of outfielders is insane to me. That's one that I just don't get. All right, coming up next, we have the key 3 text messages. The day is Brandon Marsh turning into Tobias Harris territory for me?
No,
where
it's worse.
I'm going to pop champagne.
It's worse.
Gone. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, host of the new afternoon show Unfiltered with Ricky Bo.
9:41 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll get to the key three, our three best minutes coming up in today's show. You know, the beauty of doing this job over the course of 4 hours, you have a bunch.
We went everywhere today.
Oh, yeah. And, today's topic was one of those oaks with all the branches.
Yeah,
right?
but we've been everywhere today.
So,
we really have.
You open up a bunch of tabs over the course of the show, and then I look up at the end and I go, all right, what was some of the weird stuff that I Googled today? So I have Udonis Haslem still up because we talked about, when is it time to hang him up? And Brendan said he would be Udonis Haslem, who's just collecting paychecks, hanging out, being a mentor for the young guys.
Okay.
Udonis Haslem. You guys want to guess how much money, how much money he made in his NBA career?
Udonis Haslem?
Yes.
It's got to be over.
$69 million.
It's got to be over $100 million, right?
John's actually pretty spot on. $71 million.
Well, okay, price is right. I'm in.
So he's working for free.
I'm going to showcase.
He's working, $71 million is working for free.
As I sit here.
So he started signing his 1-year deals for $2 million back in 2017. He did that
Which is quite a bit.
4, 5, 6 times. He signed a 1-year deal that was under $3 million, right?
Okay.
The last time Udonis Haslem played at least 20 games was 2015-16.
Wow.
Jeez.
He played 37.
Wow.
He played 37 games that year.
Wow.
So even before he started making $2 million, he wasn't even playing 40 games or anything.
That's what I mean, dude. You don't ruin your legacy. You're just there.
Well, and his legacy is there forever. They love him.
They love him in Miami. I'm not kidding you. He came on the podcast with us a couple times, and we did one in Miami, and he came on with us. The amount of people that were just like, he's like the freaking mayor down there. They love him. He's just beloved by the Heat people.
Yeah.
Love him.
And he was there for a long time. And that conversation started off when Saquon Barkley was on Chris Long's podcast and basically talked about how he could retire out of nowhere at any time. He thinks it'll be out of nowhere. It's not going to be like a swan song season where he announces this is my last year. No, he'll play his last year and then just, I'm done. And look, whatever an athlete wants to do, whenever they think it's time to call quits, they call quits. There's going to be people that are going to be upset, like angry. You know that's going to happen.
Which is just crazy. Because, think of it as my cousin called in. He's a fireman.
Yes.
He's in his 30s. He has a young daughter. That's someone risking their life.
Every day,
a doctor. Yeah. I can't imagine. Your wife works with doctors all the time.
Yeah.
Doctors and nurses, I can't imagine the stress that they do.
Well, yeah, because it's not
being in the ER.
Not only are they taking care of someone, saving somebody's life, you know how much trouble they can get into? And I know that, trust me,
but if they screw up.
Yeah. The hospitals have great lawyers, and there's a lot of protection with unions and stuff. But, yeah, they mess up. I mean, that could literally be life or death.
The stress that you can see it on their faces. Like the amount of pressure that they're under.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I don't know how they went home. I used to say it to my nurses and doctors. I'm like, what do you do to unwind when you go home?
Drink.
Because you worry about the stress. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the legal aspect's the one side of it, but even if you mess up and you're fine that way, like you still have to sleep at night saying, damn, maybe I could have did this different. And you probably couldn't have, but you'll think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, what do we got on the text line, Gunner, before we get to our key three in a few minutes?
Well, we got somebody that thinks they're Dave Dombrowski checking and saying this is the plan to fix everything.
Hey, you know what? I don't even know if Dave has a plan. So I'm open to hearing this because Dave Dombrowski said last week that their solutions are internal. So I'm happy to hear any other Dave Dombrowski
this
person
is internal, all right, though. But Bohm, Alec Bohm to first.
Alec Bohm.
Trea Turner to second, Stott to short, Sosa to third, Harper back to the outfield, bring Crawford up. That's the solution.
Wait, hold on. You're putting Harper. So is Castellanos going to left? I'm guessing.
Yeah, he didn't mention that part, but
because if you're also calling up Crawford's your center fielder. So I'm guessing that means
Cassie to left.
Now
Harper back to right.
Now here's where I go. Come on, dude, really? And I tried warning the people. Mikey Miss tried warning the people. There is a reason why Edmundo Sosa is a bench player.
Yes.
He was on fire to start the season, and I'm glad that they found ways to keep him in the lineup, right?
Correct.
But you knew at some point it'd come down to earth.
And he's not good in the field.
Yeah, he's not great.
He's a mediocre fielder.
Yeah. And so
that's it.
If Edmundo Sosa is your everyday third baseman, you are not winning the World Series.
No, you're screwed.
You can use him as a platoon player back in 2022 when you did not trust Bryson Stott against lefties, and so you had him and Sosa platooning, but he's not an everyday.
No, you don't, and you don't need that.
He's not an everyday player.
Don't force it.
Yeah.
Don't force these things.
He was not an everyday player really with the Cardinals.
I know you like the song.
Yes, it is a great song.
That's an all-time generational song.
Maybe the first 10 times. Maybe the first 10 times.
Oh, man, they love Sosa. What else we got?
It's a 15-year classic, John, first off. Second off, we got somebody checking in saying, after Mick Abel's start, how expendable is Ranger Suarez? Does Ranger Suarez get you that quality center fielder or top bullpen arm with some prospects
so here's the thing.
that you need?
Mick Abel would get you more than Ranger Suarez because of the control. Ranger Suarez is a free agent after this season.
But you want a bullpen arm?
Yeah, he could probably get you one.
Oh, absolutely, he could get you a bullpen arm. Because some team that's pushing for a wild card berth that needs starting pitching. By the way, the Dodgers have 3 pitchers on the IL.
Yes,
starting pitchers on the IL.
Yeah.
Is this team win now, though, or is it win in 3, 4, 5 years? Like, if you're in win now mode, Ranger Suarez does more for you this year alone.
Well, unless this bullpen arm that you bring in is like
this bullpen
I'm
needs to
saying
be
if all
fixed.
things are equal and you can trade either, they approach you, say, just let us take either Mick Abel or Ranger Suarez. Who you
No, I'm
giving
not
up?
letting Mick. No, because I have to think of both things and I can fix things. But you can get Ranger Suarez on an expiring contract, can get you a prospect or can get you a bullpen arm or 2. Can get you that, and then you throw in a prospect with him.
All right, so let's say it is a vacuum of this year. Who does you better, Ranger Suarez or Mick Abel?
Well, it depends on what I'm looking for. I mean, if I'm looking for a center fielder that is controllable, I guarantee you, Mick Abel, you could probably get a center fielder and a bullpen arm.
Right.
You could probably get that.
Or he'd be a part of a package.
If you're telling me I'm getting a controllable center fielder, and then we can talk. Then we can talk about that. Don't tell me again. I don't want to hear about anything that involves Cedric Mullins, who's as bad at the plate as Brandon Marsh. I think people don't look at
No, look, again, because Mullins was a name.
They know names from before.
He was a name from
I get that every
3
day.
or 4 years ago.
Somebody sends me a Cedric. What about Cedric Mullins? Like, he's terrible. He's terrible.
He's
not good.
He's been having a pretty bad season.
And he's been declining for years now.
Yeah, I mean, ever since that year where they could have acquired him and they did not.
Maybe they dodged a bullet.
All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
What if his batting average?
Then you know what? Then he's a mentally fragile flower, and that is his freaking problem. And I'm not going to sit here and see my team continually hurt because somebody is so mentally fragile that it's got to be, we got to do this because this is the way he wants it. We already saw this with Kyle Schwarber in leadoff. We've seen, oh, wait a minute. What could we have done with Kyle Schwarber not batting leadoff the last few years?
Yeah, I got
What could we have done? We now see the results. Oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't the smartest thing, despite all the people that would give you the graphs and say, there are graphs that tell you what he does when the stupidity of it. We all knew it. Anybody who watched baseball from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s could have told you, best hitter, best power hitter, let's do that.
That ball
it kept going.
Dude, I was I'm watching Rojas track it, and it just kept freaking going to the wall. And so they end up winning 2-1 with the game-winning hit.
Brandon Marsh would have been on his backside watching it.
So, again, yesterday, just another horrible attempt at a ball in center field. Dude, I don't get it.
What don't you get? This is where we got to begin.
Their obsession with them. I don't get it.
You do, though. You do. It's this management not willing to admit that they traded away the catcher
of the future
that could have solved this. JT Realmuto could have had his last home game this year. They could have had a nice ceremony at home plate, wished him well, and said, yeah, and we would have had Logan O'Hoppe for the next 10 years. And instead they traded him, and Brandon freaking Marsh continues to kill them in center field.
And he said, I was a test dummy for them, so now they can be like my scheme work, or was it my skill set that made it work? I had 0 issues. People had issues with me. So So, yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse.
And I want to say something, too, because I've had a few people here on social media going, yeah, it didn't take long for GJ to become a little bitch.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. CJ Gardner-Johnson left with complete class.
Yeah, remember the phone call he had with Howie he talked about on his live stream?
He left with complete class. I think, and I said it the other day, I think that Vic Fangio screwed this up. And I love Coach Fangio's old school style and everything, but I think Vic Fangio's answer was very flippant, very dismissive, and acted like, yeah, we're good. We don't need CJ Gardner-Johnson. Well, in 2023, we learned they needed CJ Gardner.
Yeah, that was something that they missed.
Hopefully, we don't need him this year. For God's sakes, let's have juice boxes.
I don't know why. I don't know why it always has to go to juice boxes and
because it's
childness.
Because you're not doing. You just gave an example of where they tried something.
Yeah, it didn't work, and then they never moved him back.
So because Tobias Harris, they tried something. You're saying we don't try something.
I'm just saying. But here's
this is ridiculous.
The point I'm trying to make is if it does not work, would they move him back?
They didn't try something with Kyle Schwarber.
Him back?
We don't know. Let's try it, and then we'll deal with that. We'll deal with your what ifs when they actually try something. When they try to fix the worst problem in baseball.
That's true.
Then we'll see. We'll actually see what happens.
All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas key three best minutes from today's show. John's trying to
You're a classy bastard.
John's trying to test me to see if I know how to dress formal.
No, I didn't know. No, I'm not acting like I knew. I didn't know till going to we got the big Chestnut Burns bash.
Yeah,
he's going
to a bougie wedding.
I tell you, hey,
throw on the Philadelphia tuxedo.
He's saying boozy wedding. Bougie. Yes,
bougie
it's
and
going to be boozy and bougie.
Bad and bougie.
But if you're, so I'm going to test you, Mr. Delco. You're going to a formal night wedding. Okay, it's a formal wedding at night. So it's a tuxedo event, not a Delco tuxedo.
And you have to follow. And these are rules you have to follow.
These are the standard rules of what you're supposed to wear with your tuxedo. There are 3 questions. Do you wear a bow tie or the long black tie?
Bow tie.
Correct. Do you wear a vest or a cummerbund?
You're parking up the wrong
vest or cummerbund?
What?
Cummerbund.
Okay. A holiday hoopie. What?
Is it a vest or the thing around your waist, the cummerbund or the vest?
You're not catching me dead in that, so I'm going with the vest. But I think it's the other thing.
You're wearing the vest. That's very
good. You're not catching me dead in that.
That's good. So you're doing good.
Again, this isn't whether or not you want to do it. It's the rules.
You're very good.
And what was the last one?
And you're wearing black.
Yeah.
That's one good thing you have to have, too.
Yeah. And then what's the thing that you wear on the chest?
Pocket square.
Yeah. I was trying to
And by the way, I'm sorry. I didn't know that well, believe me.
The napkin.
The lower you go. If you turn left out of O'Hara, the fact that he got any of those questions right, I'm
good.
Clear.
That's good work.
That's really good. By the way, they now have jewelry. Do you know this? The tuxedos now. The men are now wearing jewelry on, like, brooches. Like a brooch.
I did the cufflinks.
On the
lapel.
No. On the lapels.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Like brooches. I'm like, no, thanks. No, I'll pass that one.
I didn't do that.
Not wearing that. Not wearing the brooch.
Johnny high class this weekend.
No, maybe Nana can wear the brooch. I'm not wearing the brooch.
By the way, we have one more $50 Wendy's gift card to give away. 2 for $3 Biggie bundles, man. Gotta love them. Sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese. They got the potatoes, delicious. So call it number 1-610-632-0975 will win our final $50 gift card to Wendy's for this Thursday morning.
We love you, FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Thank you for making a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. They did it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR, the American Association for Cancer Research, because cancer research saved my life 3 times over.
Damn right. Mike Missanelli Show comes your way next with the great Ray Dunn. We have post-show headlines afterward, which we do every single day, and we've been seeing more and more traction, so thank you for being a part of it. Usually gets posted around the 11 o'clock hour, noon hour.
Unless Dylan's phone breaks down. Dutz's phone is awesome.
Dutson's phone is awesome. Dylan's out on the West Coast right now, so he's not even here.
California, here he comes.
That's right. So,